Not Quite Right features discussions that are unfiltered and uncensored and may include themes that are inappropriate for younger listeners. Also, I swear a lot.
Something doesn't seem quite right.
Welcome to Not Quite Right. My name's Ed.
And I'm Amanda.
So it's our 100th episode celebration.
Is. Woohoo! We made it.
We did, although it's a little bit confusing because it is episode 23.
We've called it early.
So we
a little early.
might have to explain ourselves a little bit on that one.
We're not even a quarter of the way there.
There is some creative accounting happening here, perhaps. So, yeah, look, we have released 100 episodes. And I say that because I've gone into a little podcasting platform and looked at the numbers. And there's 100 episodes there. That includes all of our regular episodes, all of our prize episodes, the long list, the short lists, the daredevils, all of our interviews. And so, look, we've been doing this now for 3 years. I think it's good to celebrate our wins. And damn it, I've edited 100 episodes.
Yeah,
so I need to like celebrate myself a little bit here too.
Yeah, big time. Like, how many hours would you say you've spent on editing?
Well, we'll get into the stats. I've got a little bit of stats on
All
number of episodes and time and things, but at a guess based on those stats, 1,000 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
1,000 hours of listening to my bullshit.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It is.
It's a lot for a side hustle.
It is. It is a lot. If you're listening to this thinking, oh, I can start a podcast, you just press play. Actually, you just press record and start talking and it's
He's
easy.
the expert.
It's not that easy. It's a little bit of work.
Well, I have to be honest. When we first started, I thought we'd be lucky. Like, for whatever reason, I have the number 6 in my head. 6 episodes. I'm like, we'll do 6 and then we'll probably get jack of it. And, you know, because that's what everyone does. They do 6 and they're all full of enthusiasm and it's hard. It is bloody hard and it's finding the time and the enthusiasm every time to keep editing and to keep turning up. And, yeah, I thought there was a good chance that it was just going to be a flash in the pan.
Yeah. I mean, you go into it with low expectations because odds are you're not going to be one of the ones that kind of continues it. But, yeah, we've stuck at it. And a lot of that's to do with the prize and all the other stuff that we do that's kind of all feeding into our podcast. And that's all just kind of kept us going.
Yeah,
so,
for sure. Also, I like hanging out with you, so that's a bonus.
That's true. Yes, so this is our 100th episode celebration. It may not end up being our exact 100th episode when it releases, just because we've got like
better
daredevils and things flowing through the process.
Mate, sort it out.
All right, I better get on that. So this is going to be a bit of a special episode. You know, we wanted to take this opportunity to tell you a little bit more about us because we've never really spoken about ourselves.
I feel like that's all I do.
And so the format's going to be a little bit different. We'll get into the history of the podcast. We'll go through the episodes and relive our favourite moments. I want it to be a bit of a retrospective, maybe a bit of a clip show where we like play some of our favourite moments as well. That should be a lot of fun. So if you hear this sound, it means that we're going back in time.
Oh my God. I'm excited.
And we'll also hear from some of our listeners as well. We've got a whole bunch of messages, well wishes. We'll be playing those throughout the episode as well. So that'll be a lot of fun. So we're not going to do Get Wrecked this episode because we want to give ourselves a break. We've got a lot going on. And one of the things that we have going on is Flesh Fiction, which is closed now. So no more submissions to Flesh Fiction. But we're going through the reading list now, which is a lot of fun. How many have we got? How many stories?
493, I think it was.
Yeah. So just under 500 stories that have come into us, which is...
Sorry, quick status update on the innuendo jar. It's up to $52.
Oh, wow. It's a lot of dirty
money.
Yeah, we've got to decide what to do with this money as well.
Yeah, so we'll get there. We'll get there. There's more jokes to be had, I feel.
I feel like we've got a long way to go to fill it up. So... What was I talking about? But yeah.
Flesh Fiction.
But Flesh Fiction. So we have just under 500 entries and like 1,500 words per entry as well. So that's also
it's like
quite
triple.
a lot of reading.
Yeah.
We've got some help, but like it's been a lot of fun reading those stories.
Indeed. Do you know what? Some really, really great takes on the theme as well. Like some of the titles alone, I'm just like,
great titles.
chef's kiss.
It's going to be a lot of fun talking about that. So we're not sure, I guess, completely how we're going to structure that and when as well. I think we've ambitiously said that the results will come out in December. I think that may end up being ambitious. It may not. We'll see how we go.
We'll see how we go.
But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun talking about those in like a long list episode and a short list episode and all that kind of thing.
And I know our guest judges are working away as well. And Elise Scott has been posting some little teasers on social media. So do follow us on social media. We've got the links on our website for our accounts, but through there you should be able to find Elise as well, and our personal accounts where we occasionally post little teasers.
Yeah.
For me anyway, I'm reading like a few a day kind of thing. I haven't posted a lot just yet, but I have lots of thoughts and feelings. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up on social media as well. And happy to continue that conversation because it is really fun and I can't wait to like share it with everyone.
Me too.
Like I just feel like that's what I want to do. Like, let's get through this part because, I just want to celebrate.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So we've got a lot of reading to do. We've got preparation for the next round of the comp and also for next year where we're moving into a new kind of prompt. We're ditching the anti-prompt and going in a new direction. Not a nude erection, but a new direction.
Jeez, what?
So a lot of other work to do. So we're giving ourselves a little bit of breathing space and this episode is just going to be about us.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about ourselves.
Why not?
We're going to talk about where we came from and where we're going and listen to some fun clips and some well wishes along the way. So we hope that you'll indulge us and join us along this journey. All right. So before we get into like our history, I just want to start with a little bit of stats.
Is this where you show off?
It could be.
Go on.
So this is our 100th episode. What does that mean? Because we were on 100th episode 23, a little bit confusing. So that means we've had 23 regular episodes, 38 quote-unquote bonus episodes. Remember when they were bonus episodes, but now they're like most of the episodes that we release?
Yep.
We've had 2 bonus announcement episodes, which is the Flesh Fiction announcement and the How to Win a Not Quite Right prize, like standalone episode. And we've had 20 standalone Daredevil episodes. I'm not sure if you remember, we did start having those at the end of like our shortlist episodes as well, I think a while ago. They
when we
used to be
first did
included
it.
in the shortlist, but now they're standalone. 8 long lists, 8 shortlist, winner and shortlist episodes, and 39 interview episodes. So that's where the 100 comes from.
And to be clear as well, we have a separate channel now for the interview episodes. So that's Not Quite Right interviews. And they're sort of over there because it started to get confusing because we're doing so many different things. And they're all Words on the Waves interviews. So our local writers festival.
Would you like to take a guess of the total combined duration, total runtime of all of those episodes?
Oh my God. Okay. So it's 100 episodes. We often go 2.5 hours. I'm going to average it out at an hour and a half. So I'm going to say 150 hours.
No, that's actually way over because we've got we have a lot of interviews as well that are shorter than an hour.
They're very short sometimes. Okay. Oh, well.
So the total combined episode duration, it's still quite a big number. It's 81 hours, 55 minutes and 59 seconds. Basically 82 hours. And that's a lot. And when I think about our recording process, we tend to record at least 4 times like the duration that we actually cut it down to. And that's just because we're not very good at this.
Speak for yourself.
We streamline it. We don't want to release
my God.
garbage.
Can you imagine just our stream of consciousness?
Yeah.
It'd be a William Gaddis novel. Like, seriously.
It would be. And some people have asked us like, hey, release your unedited stuff. No, we'd be in jail for a start. Yeah, so I estimate out of that 82 odd hours, we've probably recorded about 300 hours, I would say.
God.
Like if you're trying to average out, that's how much time we've spent like sitting here recording.
And not only do you listen to all of that, but you listen to it again and again. Yeah. And it's just my whiny voice annoying the shit out of you, whinging about, your recommendation that you love passionately and I'm just shitting on it. And you're just listening to it. Like, why haven't you been radicalized yet?
Have you ever seen the TV show Baby Reindeer?
Yes.
You know the bit in Baby Reindeer where she sends him like voicemails and he gets them on the computer and starts listening to voicemails? I feel a bit like that sometimes.
I'm not stalking you. Settle down.
So yeah, you mentioned averages before, like our average episode is now creeping up there. I've got a little bit of stats, some stats around that. Stats. So What would you guess is our average across all episodes, including regular episodes, interviews, whatever? You could probably work it out if your maths is good enough.
I could do that.
100 episodes are 85 hours.
What's our average runtime? Well, you said 82 hours. Hang on.
It's not easy, is it?
Hard because
It's because there's 60,
60 minutes. Hang on.
100, yeah.
If I could just remember that song from Rent, I'd be set. Oh, there's the
30
Hanson
days has September.
Get Mathemachicken in here. No idea, please.
It's 49 minutes and 39 seconds.
Okay.
Which is like up there, but that's across the board.
Yeah, and that's with, as you say, lots of interviews that are more like 10 minutes or 15. So
And so I'm not going to ask you to guess anymore, but our regular
I'm so bad at it. Yeah, go on.
our regular episodes average runtime is 1 hour and 23 minutes. And there's quite a lot of inflation in there. If you'll remember, our very first episode was actually our shortest regular episode at only 37 minutes. And the runtime has been steadily creeping up there. Our longest regular episode was episode 21, Blank the Cat.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
2 hours and 20 minutes and 30 seconds. That's because we included that reading of our own stories in that one. I believe.
Oh, did we?
So
okay. Yeah, and we also went on and on and on was the other issue.
We did go on and on. Yeah, for reference, I think the recorded time for that episode was about 9 hours.
Oh, my God. Help. Note to self, don't recommend a movie and 2 books again.
Yeah. And we go into all of these episodes. Like we have a little thing where we put ideas and things for the episode. And every episode is like, do we have enough shit to talk about? And invariably we have way more than we need.
Yeah.
So anyway, what do you think our overall longest episode was?
It's got to be a long list.
It was. It was the April long list episode for this year, actually.
Okay.
And our shortest overall episode was an interview. It was the interview with Catherine Chidgey at Words on the Waves last year. It was 5 minutes and 47 seconds.
She probably had to rush off to a panel.
That 5 minutes and 47 includes the theme music, our own introduction, and then the outro music. So the actual interview was about 4 minutes.
Wow.
So she had somewhere to be, or she had second thoughts about what she was getting herself into.
Yeah, she had to wash her hair. All right, Ed, here's one for you. I'd like you to guess, of all of those hundreds of hours of editing, how many have I done? Just hazard a guess. Just throw a number out there.
I close my eyes and imagine like this round shape. Zilch.
On the plus side, you know how much you have to listen to me talk?
Yeah.
Like, I'm with myself 24/7.
That's true. You've got a much less than
my
me
whole
when
life,
you think about it.
For 42 and a bit years.
Yeah.
So thank your lucky stars, mate.
Okay, so that's enough of the stats. Now it's time to go back in time. We started this podcast in 2022, but we're going back further than that. We're going into the deep prehistory of the podcast. And this could be before some of our listeners were born, potentially. That's how old we are. So I've got here in my notes the very philosophical question, who are we?
Oh, shit, you're going to break my brain.
Well, you know what? In our very first episode of the podcast that we didn't release, which we'll talk about later, we did try to do a little bit of an intro, but we couldn't get it together. It up. Yeah, we couldn't get it together. So can we get it together now after 3 years of experience?
Very unlikely.
So let's begin. When did we meet?
We met at work. I think of it as the box factory. It's not a box factory, but you know that episode of The Simpsons where they go on the tour of the box factory and it's just so boring. Principal Skinner's loving himself sick.
Yeah.
That was where we worked. It's very, very similar, and we have mentioned this before, to like a Dunder Mifflin. So it was very, very much The Office from The Office. Like it couldn't be any more like that. And I believe I was working there before you.
We've checked employment records and I thought I started in 2004, but looking through like my records, it looks like I started in 2005, which doesn't make any sense to me. I'm sure I started in 2004 because that makes sense to me.
Yeah. So, and I would have been 2004 because I had come back from overseas.
From elsewhere.
And in fact, a friend of mine who has entered our competition, she had a job there at the box factory.
Yep.
And she was like, I'm traveling. Does anyone want my job? I was like, yeah, I'll have your job. This was back when you could just get a job like that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I took her job and it was in the finance department and I was just like stamping shit and categorizing invoices and stuff like that. It was while I was at uni. So when I say box factory, it was a print and mail house.
Yeah.
So it's a big production floor where they print mass stuff. Like
it wasn't fun printing. It wasn't printing novels and stuff. It was printing your bills and
your bills,
all the shit
your
that
statements.
you receive in the mail that you don't want.
Yeah, all of that. So not so much the junk mail, but very much the red stamped overdue bill kind of mail. So that was us. But yeah, I started off working in the finance department. I moved around over the years and you were on reception.
Yeah. I was only 24, I guess, at the time. And at that time in my life, I found it hard to find a job.
Yeah.
And so I got this job in this place that was nowhere near where I lived and was a pain in the ass to get to.
You were overqualified from day one.
I was probably overqualified, but I needed work and it was such a cushy job. It was, I'd worked in medical reception in the past and that was way hectic. Like the phone would ring off the hook. You wouldn't get a moment's break between the phone ringing, someone walking up to the desk, wanting with an appointment. If you've ever gone to the doctor, you look at the receptionist there and they're like ready to kill you. That was me.
They're harried as fuck.
Yeah. And then I started this company and the phone rang 5 times a day. And it was amazing.
You know what? I used to sometimes like relieve you when you went on your lunch break or whatever.
And you did nothing for half an hour.
I just did nothing. And the phone would ring and I'd forget how to answer it properly because, you got to press the buttons to forward it on to the right person. I'd forget how to do it and frequently hang up on people, like frequently. And we used to have lunch together like every single day in the little room behind reception. And we used to have lunch with a third person often called Dave. We were a little, I won't say threesome, trio, right? A little trio. This one's for you, Dave. But yeah, and in fact, I have a little surprise for you.
Oh, shit.
Hey guys, it's a little blast from the past here. Just wanted to say a huge congratulations on your 100th episode. You don't look a day over 80 episodes. I think it's so cool that we all met as youngsters in a pretty bland, non-creative work environment. Oh gosh, we were so hot. And I always looked up to you two smarties, and we all ended up after a similar thing and, taking the long shot, not the easy route by any means. And I guess, ended up in this love affair with language and the art of telling a story well. And I'm so proud of you guys and just in awe. Please keep going. You've got such a great platform here that you've built for other people that share that love, and it's very cool. So love you guys. Oh, should I say who I am? This is Dave. Also, gosh, remember just doing nude weights in the stationery closet with no lights on? What a goose. I saw him a couple years ago and it was really awkward. He's a photographer now. I suppose you won't include that, it'll be weird. Okay, see you guys. Bye.
That was great hearing from Dave. It's been a long time. We should get him on the podcast.
We should. He's a screenwriter now.
He is.
Yeah, and he makes award-winning films, short films. So we've kind of all ended up in this same space somehow.
And the name that he referenced there, which I can't say on the podcast, but while we were hanging out at reception, he would walk into the little office behind reception and take off all of his clothes except for his underwear and do weights in the little room.
Wasn't it a storage closet? Like a supply cupboard or something?
Oh, you do it in the supply
do
cupboard
it in
too.
the cupboard.
So weird. But he's a photographer now, as Dave said, so like artistic types.
Another artistic type. And he also once, I think, sprained or broke his ankle, like doing a crazy pirouette.
Yeah. You could get away with a lot more back in those days,
really
I feel, than you can now.
You really could. And it bears mentioning as well that I met my husband at this same workplace. And that was all very much a massive scandal at the time as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I moved from finance to eventually into the IT department, if you can believe that. I was the translator. I used to have to translate from IT speak to normal people speak. Yep. That was my job. And fell in love with the guy over the partition. We're married to this day, going on 12 years.
Very much like The Office.
Very much like that. Yes, very much a Jim and Pam situation. Yeah, absolutely. And, there were quite a few romances that began at this workplace.
Not all of them are worth mentioning.
No, not all of them, like...
Above board,
including my own. But, when people older than us talk about, back in our day, like, people would smoke at their desk. And it just feels like this totally different vibe that you can't picture. Well, our vibe was just, like, the most unhinged, drunken
Yeah.
Christmas parties. Like we would have these Friday drinks like once a month for no reason.
Friday, like every day
No,
of the week.
I mean like paid for by the
Oh, yeah.
company, the
Yeah.
barbecues that we would have. And
Yeah.
we used to do a thing which I'm probably far enough out of the job now to admit, which we called a DNR on a Friday, which was a do not return. So you go to lunch and then just never come back. Or you'd come back buzzing to your desk.
Yeah.
And the place that we used to go for lunch, like also just had topless waitresses on like
Yes.
Thursdays or something. I never saw them, to be honest, but I know that was a thing.
It feels like a different time that couldn't possibly exist in the current world, but like a lot of alcohol, a lot of...
Some crazy
time.
Christmas parties. I have a distinct memory of one Christmas party where you were trying to get me in a taxi at the end of the night. You were being a good friend and you're like pouring me into a taxi, and I was being so obnoxious and refusing to get in the taxi because I'm like, no, you go first. You're like, for fuck's sake, woman, like you're clearly drunk as fuck. I'm not going to leave you here. And I just wouldn't do it when like 4 or 5 taxis drive past, and I think I broke you that night. But anyway, we're still friends, so it must have been okay.
Well, I was too drunk to remember as well, so...
Good time. Very good time. Many, many stories from those times we'll go into one day, but we probably will go a little off topic if we stray too far. But I guess one of my happiest memories from that time, aside from obviously meeting my husband, was how you, me and Dave used to like write each other poems. Have we read one on the podcast
We have.
before?
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Okay. We'd write each other poems and just completely waste our time doing stupid shit like that. And clearly we were all on the same wavelength. I wonder to what extent it inspired us to continue.
Or to what extent, like, that's what drew us together in the first place.
Yeah, it's hard to know. Chicken or the egg?
All right, so...
You're the egg.
Thanks for clearing that up.
I don't even know what that means, and I don't care.
All right, so we were there for about 4 years together, like
something
2004,
like that.
2005 to like 8 or 9, I guess.
4 or
It's all
5
hazy.
years.
We
It's
were
hazy.
constantly drunk. So
Seriously. Well, once my romance exploded into controversy, it was I had to get out of there fast.
Yeah.
So I got a new job and went to that job for like a year or maybe a bit like 1 to 2 years, something like that. And Andy, actually, my husband, came to that place as well. So he worked there as well.
And funnily enough, that place is my current employer.
It's the
So
most
weird.
inbred industry, I swear to God. Anyway, so I went there for a little bit, but then I got headhunted, oh my God, to go work at another print and mail company. And you came probably not that long after. You decided you'd come join me over there. So
Yeah.
different place, same vibe, a lot of the same people because it is a very inbred industry.
Yeah, so I went to a few different roles in the first company. I went from reception, kind of went up through a few different roles, and yeah, there was an opportunity at this other place, and I took it, and yeah, I ended up there, and we ended up at the same place together again.
And our lunch breaks there were exclusively playing Skip-Bo and Boggle. Once we got bored of Skip-Bo, eventually we started playing Boggle.
But the problem is I'm not very good at Boggle.
No, I roasted you and then you were just like,
But I'm pretty good at Skip-Bo.
yeah, you gave up. And we'd have a little system where if you lost Skip-Bo, you had to buy the other person a Coke. And that was our little system. And yeah, we pretty much, that was our lunch break every single day.
Well, this would have been, I started there in 2010. So we're talking 15 years ago. And I stayed with that company till 2018. So I was there for about 8 years.
Wow.
But you left.
I left when my dad got sick and I joined my family business. And so I probably had only been there a couple of years when I left. Probably in 2015, 16, something like that.
That's right. And then we hadn't seen each other for.
We didn't see each other much. You eventually moved up to the Central Coast.
Sydney house prices got to where they were, where you can't afford to buy in Sydney. So we moved up to the Central Coast in 2012. We moved up here. And I think you moved up a little bit after that.
Yeah, probably shortly thereafter.
Yeah. And then, I don't know, we didn't see much of each other. I think, I came to
We
your
were
wedding.
busy. We had kids.
So then we reconnected at some point in 2020. And I can't remember what the catalyst was or the trigger for this.
I probably rang you and was like, or texted you and was like, let's hang out. And you were like, okay.
That makes sense.
I think I got so guilty of the fact that like we lived so close to each other and hadn't seen each other for so long. And I'm like, let's hang out. For context, like I'm pretty sure this was after Andy had his mountain biking accident. And so like 2020 was a real fucked year for me, to say the least. When everyone else was dealing with COVID, I was dealing with my husband becoming a paraplegic suddenly in May of 2020. And I think in the aftermath of that, I was looking for some joy in my life. Like, and And a lot of my friends don't live on the Central Coast, like my close friends, don't live nearby. And I think I was just looking for some human connection, that wasn't my children or whatever, and just some joy. And I thought, well, you live nearby, let's hang out again. Like we hung out one time at the Eleonora.
Yeah.
And you told me, I think, that you were entering.
That's when we just talked about writing, and I mentioned that I was entering a few competitions, and you mentioned you were working on a book, and we're like, oh, great. Like, let's get together and write at some point.
Yeah. And so, like, you must have been entering Furious Fiction at that
I don't
time
know if
already.
I was entering
Who told
Furious
who
Fiction
about
that
that? You must have told me.
I'd entered like that. There was the Central Coast Council had run a couple of competitions. I may have entered Furious Fiction. I can't remember. Maybe we talked about it. But yeah, we got together, we chatted, and we found out that we both had this interest in writing.
Yeah, so I think after that initial catch-up, we decided to hang out. We started writing Furious Fiction together. You would come over to my place because it was very hard for me to leave the house because Andy was pretty much bedbound in the evening, and we had very young children at that time. And so you'd come over, we'd drink a shitload and write. But in those early stages, I guess I didn't have creative energy. I didn't have really much energy at all. And so it was mostly you writing, and I was just like wanting to write and sort of never really getting there.
Yeah.
And we'd talk about ideas and we'd have fun and think about what we would do, but I didn't really get stories out. So you had written some entries. I'd given you some feedback. We'd certainly talked about it, but you were already entering in 2020. My first entry wasn't until June 2021.
Yeah.
And the story I wrote was actually about podcasters. It was a true crime podcast themed story, and it was probably shit.
Actually, I remember that one, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Mention it.
And so that was my very first entry. And then from there, I entered, like I did June, July, August that year. I was on a bit of a streak. And my third one, the August one, won Furious Fiction. And that, I think, cemented my love of flash fiction. I'm like, right, I can do this. And you know what? When Andy had his accident, I distinctly remember finalising a draft of my book from the carers accommodation in the hospital because I was up against a deadline to enter some competition, and I was doing that in the hospital. It was ridiculous. And of course, my energy for writing a novel fell away pretty quickly. And so writing flash fiction just was the perfect amount of energy that I had. And so I think that win obviously like gave me a little boost, as I hope it does for our winners now too. And to think, I've got, I can do this thing. And it was certainly very hit and miss from there as well. But yeah, we kept entering, we were long listing, it was great.
And you say you didn't write that much. I think I didn't write them there either. We just kind of brainstormed. Yeah. We drank a bit.
You might try and write a few sentences and make a start.
It was more just kind of thinking about the prompts and making connections.
And talking shit like we do now.
And talking, exactly.
A lot of shit.
Yeah. And I guess that's when the discussions about like starting a podcast started to creep in.
Actually, I believe the reason we decided to start a podcast was because of what Dean calls his gas leak year over at Furious Fiction, where they switched to quarterly. Very briefly switched to quarterly, and we were at a loss. Well, what the hell are we supposed to do the other months? And so we decided to start a podcast.
And like when you start a podcast, you've got all these questions that you got to answer. Like, why are you doing it? What are you going to talk about? Like, what's so interesting about us?
What's so good about you?
What's so good about you? It's the imposter syndrome. And it's also just like the general who's going to listen kind of.
That's the biggest question of all when you're podcasting.
Well, even before who's going to listen is what am I going to talk about? And
I've never had an issue with that in my life.
Well, I think the idea behind this podcast was like try to capture the hangout, the
essence. We were having so much fun. I'm like, this is too good.
There were also a lot of podcasts out there who were explaining how to write. Like, this is how to write. These are the rules of writing. We didn't want to necessarily be another voice in that, just to be like we're the experts kind of thing. So that was the whole idea of it being, we'll talk about writing, but we'll also talk about other stuff that's not writing and have a fun conversation. And that's where we came up with Not Quite Right.
And the fluke of it not being taken was just like enough of it.
Very surprising. So
it's taken now.
And we pretty much stuck to that format, really, loose format that it is. We only really have one recurring segment and everything else is.
Yeah, loosely writing themed.
Yeah. We got together to record on the 1st of October, 2022. And that's almost 3 years ago. Like they say this about a novel. You write your first novel and then you throw it in the bin and write another one. We did that with our very first episode. It went in the bin because it was hot garbage, I feel. And, I actually dug it out and remastered it for the purposes of this episode.
Oh my
So
God.
I'll see if I can find like a moment and insert it here to play.
All right, go on. Do your intro. Then we get that done. Let's just get it. Just tick it off the list. Go on.
Welcome to the very first episode of the Not Quite Right podcast. I'm going to do that again.
You've already fucked it
I've
up.
already fucked it up. I'm just gonna relax and calm down.
Okay, do
You know
some
what? I'm
breathing
just gonna have
exercises.
The rest of this wide. Hang on.
You're setting the bar really low right now, and I love
I know,
it.
this is so bad. Welcome to the Not Quite Right podcast. This is episode 1. This is where it all begins.
Wow.
I'm Ed.
I'm Amanda.
So the astute among our listeners will have noticed that there's a spelling error in the title of the podcast. So
Is it an error?
Well, actually, it's a very clever pun
It's a very clever pun.
because the show's actually about writing, but
Amazing.
not quite. That episode never saw the light of day.
Nor should it. What are you doing remastering it, for God's sake? Maybe that's what we should have called the podcast, Hot Garbage. And then we'd just be on brand every time.
So yeah, that first failed episode, and that could have been the end of the podcast.
Yeah.
Do you remember how long we recorded for?
No.
Because I remember it being like we recorded for an hour or so.
Yeah, right.
And then
That sounds
it wasn't
right.
that good. I looked at the recording. We recorded for 4.5 hours.
And still couldn't get like a decent...
Yeah.
Oh, Lordy.
But then I dug out an email where we're talking about it. So like we learned some lessons from that first
Okay.
recording session. Like here's the problem, what our stumbling block I feel was that first episode. We try to approach it as like this is the beginning of something. So if we're putting ourselves out on a podcast, we need to explain who we are, what we're doing, what our plan is for the podcast and like where we're going from here. And we got really caught up in that, like trying to explain ourselves and talk about, this is more what we're doing in this episode.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, you can wait for your 100th episode to do that.
Yeah, because it's too early because we didn't know. We didn't know who we were and what we're doing here. And like, you know, of course we do to some extent, but we didn't know what the future held and
There was
what,
no
what
way of
to
knowing.
focus on and that kind of thing. So we threw that in the bin. We came back on the 21st of October, so 3 weeks later, and we gave it another shot. And that's what became our episode 1, Citizen Train, which was released 2 days later.
Oh, you
No.
were keen bean. I mean, it was a much shorter episode.
And it was much better. I'm glad we gave it another shot.
Yeah, and I think that's important. And look, you know, you can listen back to that, and I cringe listening back
do
to
too.
all sorts of things, but I'm proud of it. Like as far as first efforts go, it's
It's fine, but
It's fine.
it very much is a first effort, I feel. I feel like we've come a long way since then.
yeah.
On that episode, we talked about Bullet Train, which I didn't like, but is actually like a fairly loved movie now.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's. I think
Cult
a lot of
classic?
people. Yeah, in a way that maybe I don't appreciate, and I'll take the hit on that one.
They were pissing themselves when they wrote that. They were having the time of their lives, and they were probably high. And if you were high when you were watching it, maybe you would also find it funny. I don't know.
You definitely, but you know, you could argue that if you have to be like off your face to enjoy something, it's probably not the best.
There's a lot of demographics we need to serve
It's
in the
true.
community.
I feel this particular demographic is probably overserved. But look, I didn't love that Everything Everywhere All at Once movie for a lot of reasons, but it's not even a comparison. Like
No.
that's basically Citizen Kane compared to Bullet
Oh.
Train.
Listen, now you got me started on Citizen Kane, which I hate. Okay.
Didn't even have Brad Pitt in it. I mean,
It did not. It did not. Don't give them ideas. They'll do a reboot.
Oh yeah, Citizen Train. There's a lot of movies like that. Another one of the same type is John Wick. And have you ever seen
Okay.
John Wick?
Andy really wants me to get into John Wick.
I really don't like it, but it is much loved. And I feel
fell
like it's a
asleep
similar
watching
vibe
John
here.
Wick. Even though I love a bit of Keanu.
You reviewed The Old Man and the Sea. Remember doing that?
I do.
We talked about Hemingway. We talked about write what you know.
Oh.
So we started off talking about like
Writing rules.
writing rules straight away. And I think we thought that was going to be a regular thing, that we just do like a writing rule every episode kind of thing, or some of the time. We haven't really done that.
No.
We've covered a couple here and there.
We certainly talk about them, but not in a structured way.
And usually in the context of like the anti-prompts
Yeah,
these days.
yeah.
But
Or as advice for daredevils, for example. Or...
So yeah, listening back to that episode, like again, hard listening to yourself, I felt like the editing was a lot looser There was a lot more just
Still pretty good. If you listen to
rambling on.
other podcast first episodes, I think you did a good job.
I feel like I'm very quiet in that episode. And I think that was just me subconsciously turning myself down.
I felt that at the time. I feel like I said that to you. Like, why am I so because I felt self-conscious about being the loud one and the one who's doing all the talking. And you definitely also used to edit out and still do more of yourself. Like, you're more critical of yourself and edit
I
yourself
definitely am.
out and leave my bullshit in there.
Yeah. And sometimes when we talk, like, we both say the same thing, or like you'll say something and I'll reframe it and or the other way around. And then I'm like, oh, you said it better. Like, anyway. We released episode 1, we put it out there, and there it is. It's out in the wilderness.
There it is.
I had to hastily cobble together a website to make it happen and all that kind of stuff and work out how to do hosting and whatnot and get it out there. We released it, we launched it. Didn't mention, but of course, like, we came up with the name not quite right. We had to get the logo done, like what's our whole vibe and the colours and all of that stuff. And it's a lot of work that went into it, even just to get like such a small thing off the ground, registering all the domain names, all that stuff that came with it.
All of which was work that, again, you did. So thanks.
Well, you did that. You organised the artwork.
I
and all that
organised
stuff.
it, yeah. I didn't make it.
So when we first set up the podcast, apart from the name, like, we needed a little theme song. So we had to work out how to put that together. I've got a little music recording thing here and I do a little bit of music. So I tried to kind of come up with one. It wasn't quite the vibe. And I had 2 samples and one ended up being the drum. And I had a completely different one from a different sample pack, which was the bum-ba-dum-ba-dum-ba-dum-bum-ba-dum. I just put one over the top of the other and I was like, that sounds all right. Like, I had to change the speed and stuff like that. But I kind of liked the vibe, but I felt it needed a little something at the end. And I searched through a list of just movies where someone used the quote not quite right. And I then tried to like find all of the clips and find one that sounded the best.
I wonder if anyone recognises it.
I wonder if anyone does recognise it. Maybe it's
a little obscure.
Send in your guesses.
Yeah. I'm wondering if you have the file of the Reject song anywhere.
Oh,
What could have been the
I'll
not
see if I
quite
can
right
find
theme.
I might just play it now.
It just something doesn't seem quite right.
And when you release a new podcast and you drop it and you put so much work into it and all that preparation, we recorded 2 episodes, we edited it and finally released it. And then like the tumbleweed sort of rolls over it. And literally no one's listening except us who have subscribed to our own podcast and whoever your family.
Yeah, only my family too, because you refused to tell anyone you were doing it.
No, I don't like to tell anyone until it's working out a little bit.
You still haven't told anyone.
I've told people. I have. And so in our first episode, we introduced the concept of Get Wrecked. And in episode 2, Say Hello to Our Friends, which came out on the 10th of November, 2022, that was our first Get Wrecked discussion. And it was your choice first. So you went
ladies'
first.
choice.
Ladies first.
Yeah.
And of course, the discussion was around Babysitters Club, which is like...
Yeah, my origin story.
We spoke about NaNoWriMo before it imploded.
I think people are still doing it.
Yeah, to be fair. We spoke about reboots, remakes, and sequels. I guess it makes sense.
No, well, it
thematically.
did, because the Babysitters Club that I wrecked to you was like, read one of the first novels, then watch the old 90s TV series, and then watch the new Netflix reboot. So that's why we were talking about reboots and remakes and stuff.
But that's kind of a format that we've retained, right? We choose the rec and then something that fits the rec.
Yeah, and I believe your reaction to my recommendation there was a very hearty meh. Final verdict?
Final verdict? No. No, look, I can definitely see why it appealed to you.
But we haven't established who you are.
I'm probably Marianne. Like, I'm definitely not a Christie. Am I a Claudia?
You can't say you're a Claudia. That'd be too up yourself.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be Claudia. Maybe you're a Mallory.
I don't know who that is.
That's offensive.
I mean, look, it's fine, but
That was very much the vibe.
As a man in his 40s, I don't think I connected too deeply with
in
Babysitter's
your beekeeping
Club.
years, as you say.
Beekeeping years. I think I connected too deeply with it. Like, it was fine. I can understand why.
You've got to read Mary Ann's Beehive. You'd be all over it.
It's the missing piece of the puzzle. But then I let off strong and recommended you one of my favourite movies, which was Synecdoche, New York, which we spoke about in episode 3, entitled Synecdoche Schmenecdoche, which you came up with, a great title. And in retrospect, I was starting off pretty heavy.
Yeah. You're just like, I just want everyone to know I'm super highbrow and smart.
I don't know if it was highbrow. It's a movie I loved. And I recently rewatched it and I was like, this is such a great movie. Amanda's going to love it. Let's talk about it. But you didn't love it, did you, Amanda?
Why would you subject me to this? You don't think I have enough stress in my life? Mm-hmm. You don't think I have enough fucking negativity in my life? You know, the world is a dangerous, awkward, awful place out there, really, when you think about it. And this movie's just like, oh, look, here's a mirror. Let's reflect on that.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it an uplifting movie. It doesn't have like
I hope you wouldn't.
It's not heartwarming. You don't leave the theatre with like this warm feeling.
No, unless that feeling is being set on fire.
I feel like it set the tone as well for future recs where you just shit on them. Like, I present to you my recommendation, you're like, nah.
Yeah, but what you've got to remember is, and I've said it before, and you should know this by now, but I'm a massive bitch. And I just like to do that. I just like to be painful and, have conflict, basically. So,
You're doing it for the plot.
I'm doing it for the plot. I love a debate. Mm-hmm. And so that's what it's about. I want you to fight for it. I want you to convince me why I should love it.
Good to know. I'll see if I can go a bit darker.
Oh, no.
All right. Episode 4, For the Love of Harvey, came out on the 28th of January 2023.
And look, many podcasts don't get to episode 4, so that was a little milestone in itself.
Yeah, but we've got a groove now. We know what we're doing to some extent.
Question mark.
We're going into it knowing that at least we're going to get an outcome.
We've got like at least 4 to 5 listeners by this point.
Do we though?
I don't know. Well, 2 of them are me, Apple and Spotify.
I really wonder, I would love to hear from anyone who listened that early.
Yeah.
Like, who was our earliest listener? Who started listening back in episode 3 or 4 or whatever? So we spoke about on episode 4, For the Love of Harvey, getting ideas stolen. I think at that point in time you were writing your middle grade fiction and someone had stolen your idea.
Not really. I like to dramatise that. But yes, I was struggling to get it finished. And the problem is when you're working on a novel, everyone gets there faster than you and you're just like watching other people succeed while you're just back here on the starting line.
Yeah.
So I think it was more a case of that, to be honest.
The whole thread of your middle grade novel is running through a lot of these episodes. Up to
Which
the
is
point where
funny
we review
considering I've done fuck all on it.
Well, you've written it. That's a start.
Well, I wrote a draft. I mean, the thing about the podcast is the secret truth is that this was a procrastination exercise and it was way too effective and now I have no time to write.
And so on this episode, we talked about nostalgia in TV shows, which was related to what we were talking about in Get Wrecked, which was the movie from the 50s, Harvey, about the giant invisible bunny, which was a great discussion. I enjoyed that discussion.
Yeah.
I feel like, again, we're getting into our groove here. We have a little bit of a format that came about naturally. We're talking through the plot and our thoughts. And this is where you called me a case-hardened wowzer as well, which we should probably bring back. I just think it's possible to be a good person and have those same values and not have the shoehorned invisible rabbit in the picture.
Well, I just want you to know that at the time the film came out, some guy called John McCartan of The New Yorker said of Harvey that it's a movie that only a case-hardened wowzer would fail to find beguiling. So from here on out, we will know you as the case-hardened wowzer.
Case-hardened wowzer.
Take that. You earned that title.
But I feel like you might be the case-hardened wowzer.
I beg your pardon. A wowzer is someone who doesn't drink, for a start.
I don't know how that ever got on the cards in that case.
No, I know.
And so this was like a bit of trivia.
Love trivia.
Episode 4 was our first little post-credits little insertion. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I will pay the jar. And it's actually relevant because, Amanda, you were talking about your sexual awakening movies.
Woo!
So this would be like mid-90s.
It's more. It's not so much the time in my life. It was more that the movie evoked that feeling in me. I was like, oh, hello.
Okay. All right. Well, you actually give me one or two and then I'll try and guess the rest.
I'm finding it very hard to confess. The Labyrinth.
Oh yeah, fair enough. Like there was definitely some cucumber in the pants actions going on there. You were not forthcoming on the details.
I was struggling to get it out. I'm much more open about that now.
Okay.
Strictly Ballroom.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What
Bit
else?
of Paul Mercurio. Romeo and Juliet, definitely. Leonardo DiCaprio, back in his prime. A bit of Brad Renfro never goes astray, I have to say. Devon said, Casper. And one of the greatest moments of my life was when Devon Sauer himself liked one of my tweets or like retweet or post. Like he replied to one of my tweets and I was just like, oh my God, can I keep you? You know, all that, right? So that's a short list.
Yeah, I feel like we're much more forthcoming with that kind of information.
We've just completely
we did used to talk about it as well, but like we cut that out of the episode because it was too
risque.
spicy. But then, I thought this was too good to let go. Let's just add it in at the end. But slowly that's just kind of been incorporated into the
I love the post-credits. When you send me the episode like drafts to listen to and that closing music starts playing, I get so excited. I'm like, what is this going to be? Because I never remember. And then I'm always pissing myself laughing.
And sometimes you're like, no, get rid of it.
I know Athena's a bit of a fan of the post-credits. In fact, she left us a message. So.
Yeah, let's listen to that now.
Hey guys, it's Athena Law here from Queensland, Australia. Now, I wasn't the very first winner of Not Quite Right, but I was the first to get a pointy trophy. Incredibly proud moment, and all thanks to that beautiful word, moist. So look, this comp and the podcast are my absolute favourites. I have a particular love for the outtakes, and although I'm going to miss the anti-prompt, I know there's so much fun to come and I can't wait. Happy 100th!
So speaking of 100s.
I thought you were going to say, speaking of moist.
Let's not. So we were one of Athena's 100 chances that year. So she sort of set herself a challenge to put her writing out there 100 times in a year and see how many successes she got. And, I think it resulted in a lot of successes, actually.
I've seen her name on the Furious Fiction list a few times.
Yeah, she's been on Furious Fiction and she's done other things as well. She's been published and going gangbusters, really. And it's really cool to see, and I can't wait to read her novel when it comes to fruition.
Absolutely.
So thanks, Athena. Thanks for taking out that first pointy trophy. A worthy winner.
And we hope to produce some more outtakes for you. Say something stupid, quick.
Yeah, quick.
And let's hear from another Not Quite Right prize winner, Louise Walton.
Hi, it's Louise Walton here, winner of the April Not Quite Right prize, and I'd like to say thanks for the podcast. I probably listened to my winning episode about 15 times in 1 week, so maybe I shouldn't be saying thanks because it possibly became a problematic addiction. But it was just so fun hearing you guys giggle over it, and you both have great laughs. So I just want to say thanks for bringing the fun. It's so refreshing to hear people passionate about writing, but who also see the value in the funny stuff too. So thanks and cheers.
Thank you, Louise. That was a great story.
Yeah.
Absolute standout. Hilarious.
For sure. And Louise was on a massive winning streak at that time and has had a lot of success. New York City Midnight win, Writing Battle win, Not Quite Right win. Like, what else is there? She's doing amazing things. And in fact, I've just seen the published stories from last year's New York City Midnight win that she had. And it's a beautiful, beautiful story about a farmer who calls it a day. And I didn't realise when I saw that, but Alexandria Bellani came second as well. And in fact, it was first, second and third podium for Aussies. And a couple of familiar Not Quite Right names in there. So that was really cool to see, and another beautiful story from Alexandria as well. But go check them out if you haven't already, because they publish the winning stories over there as well.
All right. Episode 5, Original Sins of 14th of February 2023, Valentine's Day.
Happy
came out.
Valentine's.
So Original Sins, our theme was originality. We spoke about ChatGPT because it was brand new. It was like, what the hell?
Shiny
is
new
this
toy.
thing? We spoke about New York City Midnight, and we talked about My Wreck, which was JR by William Gaddis.
Again, you're just like, listen, what I want you to know about me is that I'm so smart.
No, here's where I was coming from. You had like branded yourself as someone with these very specific tastes that are very narrow and like you've always been the same your whole life. Uh-huh. And I was trying to like open your eyes to different things, like different ways of telling a story. So I gave you JR by William Gaddis, which is a hot mess of a book of just like dialogue and description. Is there even any, is
There's
it
no
just
dialogue attribution at all.
It's just
and
a stream of consciousness
there's
dialogue
action,
stuff.
but it's not.
And so we spoke about that. And of course, you weren't a big fan, as I didn't expect you to be.
Well, it's not about that, is it? It's just, like you say, exposing to something different. And sometimes, you know, it's like with the anti-prompt that we have. It's like sometimes figuring out what you don't like is a way of figuring out what you do like as well. And it wasn't without its charm, that book, but it certainly couldn't sustain. Like, come on, mate.
It's big. It's 800 pages.
It's fucking big. And how could you sustain that and sustain someone's attention? It's not possible.
Yeah. I feel like William Gaddis actually wrote that in response to an anti-prompt.
Yeah, pretty much. And do you know what? It would probably work really well as flash fiction because it'd be different and like, you know, we talk about that element of surprise. You would definitely get that, this dialogue heavy thing. And look, it's moving. Like there's stuff going on and there's a lot happening under the surface, but trying to sustain that for a mega novel is probably a little bit ambitious. Mm-hmm. And nobody but an old white man could get away with it, and you know it.
All right. Post-credit scene for that one was you made mention of bondage time in relation to one of your relatives.
Oh. Speaking of leather, right? I met my cousin's boyfriend for the first time today and he's very nice. He's very charming and, you know, good looking, and she's never brought a boyfriend to the family before, so it was very exciting. Anyway, he was telling us how him and his dad worked together to fit out this camper. Like he bought the car and it's now a camper and they did it. It was pretty impressive. He's like, yeah, and it was just really good bondage time for me and my dad.
Did anyone?
Oh, yeah. We're like, that's how we're going to remember you now. You will never, ever live that down.
Very Kath and Kim, that one.
Mm-hmm. And they got a baby now. So that little plot's progressed as well.
Nice. So the bondage time paid off.
Apparently.
Okay. Episode 6, Everything Oscillating All at Once.
Oh, amazing.
28th of February, 2024. And I've got in my notes, like I feel like this is the start of like modern, not quite right. Maybe the next phase. We're out of our like formative year.
We're coming out of our cage.
Coming out of our cage. We're doing just fine.
Uh-huh.
It's only been 5 months. So this is 28th of February, 2023. We started in October.
Fire.
Yeah, we've just
Look at
been
us go.
smashing that.
You used to talk about, this week on Not Quite Right. I'm like, mate, that's ambitious.
Yeah. That was another thing we had to decide when we started. Like, are we monthly or are we weekly?
We still haven't figured that out.
Everyone says when you look at like advice for new podcasts, like you got to drop it every Wednesday or like on the first. No one cares. No one cares when you release a podcast.
Well, I think people care, but it's also like, well, too bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
It's like,
that's
we
true.
do what we can.
I guess we ended up being quite well, not even regular, just frequent. Yeah. So everything oscillating all at once. There's a lot of great moments in this one. There's obviously my penis was oscillating.
A quote from Spare.
Quote from Spare, Prince Harry's autobiography.
Well, biography, mate.
Ghostwritten autobiography.
Ghostwritten autobiography that he clearly acknowledged had a ghostwriter. It's like, where's the ghost? You know?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Right. The ghostwriter was actually named, weren't they?
Yeah.
So I used AI, which was again new, to copy Amanda's voice and my voice reading out some fun excerpts, and we'll play some of those now. Well, here's the weird thing. Even though the website says it only really works with North American accents, my one came out weirdly British. And I'm not sure why. So I thought I would get it to read a classic piece of British literature.
Oh, dear.
My penis was oscillating between extremely sensitive and borderline traumatized. The last place I wanted to be was Frostnipistan. I've been trying some home remedies, including one recommended by a friend. She'd urge me to apply Elizabeth Arden cream. My mum used that on her lips. You want me to put that on my todger? It works, Harry. Trust me. I found a tube, and the minute I opened it, the smell transported me through time. I felt as if my mother was right there in the room. Then I took a smidge and applied it down there.
That sounds like, do you know what? That sounds like you actually read that and put on a British accent.
Yes. We spoke again about plagiarism, Amanda's ideas being stolen again. Well, you introduced us to your hate for Matthew McConaughey and Arndo in this one.
Oh, look, I don't hate Arndo. I just resent him.
Just wish he was dead.
No, I think I've got a better perspective on it now, the old celebrity author thing, celebrity ghost-written books and whatnot, which is that, look, without those, there's no publishing industry because that's the bread and butter of the publishing industry, either like these autobiographies or series books that are attributed to a celebrity, the big names who already have their own platform to sell their books. That's what injects the money that allows a publisher to take a risk on an unknown person. So, look, they have their place. I guess I will probably always have a bit of an issue with ghostwriting and how it's handled. Like sometimes it's handled better than others.
So we spoke about ghostwriting. We spoke about Nepo babies, and you admitted to being a Nepo baby.
I'm totally a Nepo baby. It hasn't done me any favours.
Yes. You're on the lowest rung
I'm
of
like,
Nepo baby.
oh, God.
And of course, on this episode, we spoke about Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is a movie that you had said that you liked on previous episodes. I think you
love it.
You compared Synecdoche in New York to that as like, this is a worse version of Everything Everywhere All at Once. And I'd watched Everything Everywhere All at Once. I hadn't watched it properly, as in I'd watched it while I was like on my phone and stuff, and I didn't like it. And,
Funny that.
and so I watched it again, and I did like it the second time around.
What I'm seeing emerging as a theme is that I'm recommending good stuff and you're recommending bad stuff. That's emerging here.
I feel like what's emerging as a theme is that I'm a more open-minded person.
Oh, I see.
Who appreciates a diverser set of media.
I
whereas
see.
you're like,
It's got to have like a big dildo fight scene or I'm not interested.
that's right.
It's got to have Data from the Goonies or I'm not interested.
Or Brad Renfro.
But he's dead, mate.
Okay, so episode 7, Mowing Down the Competition, came out on 1st of April 2023. And
April Fool's Day.
yeah, this is the second bit of trivia I'd like to mention. For some reason, 2023, 2024, 2025, every year we've had a regular episode come out on April the 1st.
Pressure's on now to
That's
continue.
Just random.
Yeah, considering how infrequently.
Yeah, 23 episodes, 3 of them happen to randomly come out on the same day. This is the first of them, and it was Mowing Down the Competition, referencing 2 things. One was my recommendation this time around, which was the movie Greener Grass, which I'd recently watched. And I thought you'd appreciate the humour. You'd talked about like how you love this dildo fighting movie. It was out there, it was funny. And so I thought, oh, you'll probably like this movie too. And I don't think you liked it.
No, look, do you know what I think the issue is? We've got to watch it together. Okay? Because if I'm watching it with Andy, it's not his bag. I need to watch it with someone who's finding it funny and then I will find it funny. No, look, Greener Grass, you have to admit, it's completely stupid. You have to admit that.
It is.
Right? It is. That's
what
objective.
I loved about it.
Yeah. Look, it's one of those things that grows on you as well. Like you look back on it and just think how funny and stupid. But when you're watching it, you're kind of like, well, what is happening? But in hindsight, the fact that a child just turns into a dog is hilarious. Yeah. And that's a woman just gives her baby at a soccer match. Like that is so funny. But at the time, it's like, what? And look, you know me, I'm always tired. I'm watching these after like a hard day. The kids have been driving me mad. And then I watch this and I'm like, I don't have the energy for this. Like, this is taking too much out of me.
Yeah. Well, look, I think it's a bit of a cult classic. I'm not sure if it has enough of a following to become a cult classic, or if that's even a concept these days. You know, and we're beyond the VHS days. But I enjoyed it. But we also spoke about my Vegemite origin story. I don't do Vegemite, as it were.
That's because you're from elsewhere.
It actually is.
No, but before we go, I want you to tell me more about this bombshell you dropped on me today, that you have a phobia of Vegemite. Go back to Romania, mate. Do they have Vegemite?
No, they don't have Vegemite anywhere except here. Why do I live in the one country where this exists?
It's exposure therapy.
It's not working. No, so when I was a child, I remember once I tried Vegemite and I didn't like it. And of course, my mum is Romanian.
Yeah.
And she wouldn't have known like how much you put on or how you do
dear.
it or whatever.
Oh, no.
So I don't know what I had, but I didn't like it at the time.
Oh, no. Was it? She
Sharon
didn't know
tells
it's
me-
meant to be a scraping.
Probably not. Sharon tells me that I would love it knowing other foods I love. Like I would love it. But
It's umami. One of the umami foods.
yeah. So there was that. I had it and I didn't like it. And then kids had it at school and I didn't like it. And then once like the neighborhood bully, this is when I was...
No way.
No, this is my origin story. When I was, I don't know, I would say probably about 10, the neighborhood bully threw a Vegemite sandwich at me and it stuck to my back. And I just had Vegemite all down my back.
Yeah.
And that's probably why. So anyway,
Poor baby Eddie.
I haven't had Vegemite since then and I just can't like have it.
Get
And
past that.
It's not like a thing where I can just move past it. I think it is a legit phobia. Like it's
So what
at
happens?
that level,
Like what physically happens in your body when you...
I just can't do it. I can't
So
accept
I
it.
have a Vegemite scroll
I'm not
right now.
fucking
Like if I put that near you, what would you do?
I would leave.
You would
walk
leave?
over.
Wow.
I can't do it.
I'm
I
not going
can't
to do it to you.
No, and
Are you sweating that I'm even suggesting that I would bring it towards you?
yes, like it's not just a thing where I don't like it. It's an actual mental problem. Like it's a phobia.
Oh.
So anyway, I've tried in the past, just being like I've mentioned before, like I've tried just getting drunk and then trying to eat some, but I can't do it.
You just can't.
And I don't know, maybe one day I'm going to convince myself to do it, but just the thought of it makes me sick.
Right.
Like makes me feel
Yeah, that's intense. It's a lot to
it's intense.
overcome.
So-
Okay, well, I'll take care to respect you on that and offer a trigger warning anytime I plan to eat Vegemite around you.
But the other thing we spoke about, and the reason why it's called mowing down the competition, it's a bit of a double meaning. It's because this is where we announce the not quite right prize.
Ooh.
So 7 episodes in, we're already like thinking about what's the next thing that we're going to do because we don't have enough work, right?
Yeah.
We need to do
we
more
need
things.
a lot of stuff to procrastinate further.
All right, it's major announcement time.
Yes.
In light of the demise of Furious Fiction,
So sad.
we have decided to launch the Not Quite Right prize
That's
for
right.
Flash Fiction.
Unfortunately, it means we won't be able to enter. So it's not really satisfying that part of it for us.
doesn't really satisfy that itch, does it?
No, it doesn't. But we hope it will help satisfy the itch for the other Furious Fictioners, the ones like me who have that competitive streak and who can't function without it.
But we'll be bringing our own twist. So as well as writing prompts, we'll be giving you what are called anti-prompts,
This is the fun bit.
which we hope will encourage breaking of the rules in interesting and creative ways.
So those typical rules of writing that you've just had absolutely drilled into you from day one of, embarking on this writer's journey, we're just going to have a little bit of fun. You get a little break from it. So there will be, I guess, one rule in the comp that you'll be encouraged to break.
And there will be regular writing prompts as well.
Yep. And I think what's important to note too here is that as we'll be the judges of the competition, we'll be really open to that creative aspect. We don't want to be restrictive. So when we say anti-prompt, we don't mean for that to restrict you. We want you to have fun with it. That's what it's all about.
I think it was like the drivers behind doing this is that we had a podcast.
Yeah.
We're getting cocky. We've been doing it for 9 months or so by that time. And we're like, why don't we run a little comp and get some publicity for
Yeah, it was
the podcast,
It was designed to get more interest in the podcast for sure, initially.
because it's really hard to crack into any sort of listenership when you're starting a new podcast. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, that was the plan. The inaugural prize ran in June 2023 here. I thought it was
could
July.
be.
Was it June or July?
June or July, sometime.
Yeah. We went with 600 words, if you remember, just to be a little bit different from
Super
Furious
original.
Fiction. We were
Yeah.
like, we can't just completely rip off their format. Let's go 600 words.
So stupid.
It was kind of stupid, but whatever. And so I remember that you did this 10-page document, which I dug up again.
Oh, yeah.
Like outlining the risks and the
Oh,
benefits of starting a
That's on brand, yeah.
writing comp and like so some of the risks. What if no one enters?
Yeah, that was a big risk.
We were putting up $300 and $300 of our own money, and we're already like paying into the podcast. And are we just throwing this money away? And also, if no one enters,
Yeah, it's pointless. And I think too, at that time, I knew someone else who had run a writing competition and they had promoted it widely, had more listeners than we did and got maybe 20 entries.
Yeah.
So I think that was like the bar I set for myself.
Yes, I think having the $300 prize and free to enter was enough to get people interested.
And also we promoted it on like competition lists around, and so people found us that way.
Another one of your risks was becomes a massive time suck, which was like foreshadowing.
Massive
Bit of
foreshadowing,
a massive time suck.
to say the least.
But benefits, promotes the podcast, and will be fun.
Yes. Well, also foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Totally true.
Yeah. So both of those turned out to be true. The only thing that wasn't true was that people did enter, and we got about 700 something entries in our first round, which is really great.
Yeah. I think we were shocked.
Yeah.
And we didn't know because you don't know until the end. Like,
It wasn't like now where we sell the tickets.
Yeah.
It was just put your name down for the mailing list and we'll send you an email when it goes live. Email goes out, but we didn't know ahead of time how many people were actually going to participate. So it was very nerve-wracking on that weekend, just sitting there watching like the number of submissions come in, and then like, oh my God, there are like 700 of them. And it becomes a different problem. Like now we've got to read all these stories and judge them. But that was a lot of fun, and we obviously decided to do it again. We had actually, here are the numbers, we had 678 entries. So it's still our biggest round to date, but we do hope to one day surpass it. And we've pretty much stuck with that same format since then.
Except for the 600
Except for
words.
the 600 words. It was the introduction of the anti-prompt in that very first round. We were like, how can we differentiate ourselves? And yeah, so the anti-prompt is coming to an end in the next round of the comp. So like it's run its course. I think we've had a great 9 rounds with the anti-prompt, including the October round, which is coming up. And yeah, we're moving in a different direction. We're very excited about that direction.
We've just been talking about it.
We have kind of refining how it's going to operate next year. And I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be a great format, and I think everyone will really enjoy it.
Yeah, I think it should be fun. Yeah, definitely. We'll see. It's up to the entrants, really, what they make of it, because the prompts are just the prompts. Like, what are you going to do with it? So we shall see.
And speaking about like the comp and the amount of work that it is and all that kind of thing, we've actually got a question on that from Jenny Lyons-Bell.
Hi, Amanda and Ed. This is Jenny from the Central Coast. My question is to do with the Not Quite Right prize for flash fiction and the future of the comp. It seems like it has been growing in popularity from my perspective, floating around online anyway, which is bloody fantastic for you guys. And I'm so stoked that the comp's going so well. But how are you guys thinking of managing the load if it gets really big? Because listeners of the podcast will know that you both have full-time jobs as well as running the comp and doing the podcast and all of that type of stuff. So, yeah, future plans for the comp, like strategies. Are you thinking of having a cap on how many entries you receive? Because I know that some comps are like that. Yeah, that's my question. And congrats on 100 episodes.
Well, thanks, Jenny, for being the sensible person in the room and thinking about the real questions, because our approach to date has been just do it and then worry about the how later. So I think that's still the plan, right?
Yeah.
We just do it.
Yeah.
And then obviously if it gets big enough, we've brought on Dean to help with judging, and we can bring on more people if we need to. The dream is to one day have this be everything.
Yeah. And then we can devote all our time to it. You know, it's a very empathetic question. I understand Jenny's a single mum, so she knows what it's like to juggle multiple things at once and struggle, probably. I'm going to hazard a guess to get everything done, and it's probably similar in that regard. It's way too much. It's completely all-consuming at times, but we love it. So what can you do? It's our little baby. But the interesting thing about Jenny, and we have met Jenny because she came along to the writing workshop I did at the Words on the Waves this year. But she found us not via Words on the Waves, but from Sarah Kennedy, all over the other side of the world. So I think that's really cool. Our writing community just absolutely transcends any kind of border, which is very, very cool.
And the other comp that we had started is, of course, Flash Fiction, which we kicked off this year on Valentine's Day is when we announced it. And we just wrapped it up in August. So busy reading those stories. And yeah, who knows what the future will hold for Flash Fiction? Is it one and done, or does it become a semi-regular thing?
Let me see. I'll do a little risk assessment. Hang on. becomes a massive time suck. That's really my only concern,
Yeah, pretty
because
much.
I would gladly do it all the time. It's been very fun so far, and I cannot wait to do the episodes for that and just start sharing all this stuff with everyone and to publish some of the stories. And
absolutely.
oh God, it's going to be so good.
Yep.
Reading them, I'm still not sure if I'm going to be able to do it, so we'll have to see. But yeah, like so much fun. So it's just a matter of like, how do we make that work? And because I think from all reports, everybody had fun entering too. So yeah, watch this space.
So the other thing that we did around this time in our little timeline was Words on the Waves. So we started that in the middle of 2023, and that's been a lot of fun. Like for the 3 years we've been doing it, and you just kind of volunteered us and threw your hat in the ring at the
I
time.
contacted them and I sort of like, what do you think? And in fact, the prior year they had Danny V from Words and Nerds come and do a similar thing. She did sort of more of a roaming interview with people in the hustle and bustle of the festival. And I think she had decided that she didn't have time for it, or she was focusing on other things. And so she had pulled out. And so I guess it was good timing and sort of fate that I had come along and said, hey, what about us? And it worked out. And it has been so fun. Like, we felt like such imposters that first year, I know, for sure.
Well, we were still finding our feet as a podcast and as podcasters. Some would argue we still are. But, we'd been at it for about 3 months before you were like, hey. And we actually did it 7 months in. And, according to my notes, we had done, 7 episodes? Or maybe 8 episodes by that time. So still very, very new and very much a different experience as well, like just to podcasting, talking to each other, interviewing authors that we may not necessarily know who they are or be familiar with their work. And
famous authors too, and
That's
getting
right.
intimidated, getting a bit starstruck and not necessarily knowing what to do with ourselves with these big names. And I don't know about you, but it was our 3rd year this year with them. It was their 5th year as a festival. And I felt great this year.
Yeah,
I felt
me
like
too.
part of it, part of the furniture now. And I hope they'll have us back again.
Yeah.
But I definitely found it a really rewarding experience and felt much more natural this time around.
100%. It's really been a highlight. And I felt much more confident, and it's really a skill, and just the fact of going from one interview to the next and having to adapt to different topics and different people, different levels of engagement, that kind of thing. It's fun and it's challenging.
And in fact, we have a little message from our very first interviewee.
We do.
Hi, my name is Fiona Lloyd. I'm a children's author here on the Central Coast. I celebrated the publishing of my debut book with you during the Words on the Waves Writers Festival back in 2023. Congratulations on bringing a vibrant podcast with everything writing from nice to spice.
Now, Fiona's actually become a friend. We're in the same writers group, basically, and we see each other from time to time, although I've been a bit slack of late. But yeah, she's wonderful. She wrote in middle grade. She wrote a middle grade book that was published by Penguin and had come out that year. She was debuting that year, and she's actually part of the festival committee as well.
So 3 years we've been doing that, 39 interviews and some big names. We interviewed Rosie Batting, domestic violence survivor and advocate.
And former Australian of the Year.
Nikki Gemmell, author of The Bride Stripped Bare. Judy Nunn of Home and Away fame.
I felt really awkward when we interviewed Judy Nunn because I brought that up and the look on her face, she was just like, get fucked.
Yeah,
I do not want to talk about
out
it.
of there.
She's like, I have been doing this writing shit for a while now. Can we talk about that? That was all expressed in just a look.
Yeah,
And I was like, oh, okay, backtrack.
Yeah.
But also tell me everything about Alf.
We also interviewed local legend Julie Goodwin, MasterChef winner, inaugural MasterChef winner. And a year later, we also were on Rabbit's podcast. And Rabbit and Julie Goodwin used to do a radio show. It's like collecting both of the parts of the set.
The salt and pepper shaker.
We also interviewed Stephanie Wood about her time as a romance scam victim. A few months ago, I watched the TV series that was based on that book.
Yeah,
and
with Asher Ketty, Fake on Netflix.
Yeah, and just having that experience of, look, I've met the person who was behind this.
Yeah. I had a day when I went into Big W and I was in the book section and there was a little stand and it had like maybe 20 books on the stand. And I had met 4 or 5 of the authors on that stand. And I was just like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Like when you network and you go to these events and festivals and so on, you do get to meet some pretty cool people. And so I was quite proud of that.
I was in Kinokuniya, the bookshop in Sydney, with my family like a couple of weeks ago. We were all in the city and it was in the Australian literature section and I was like, oh, that's familiar. What is it? And it was Onslaught of Light by Natasha Rai, who we interviewed.
Yeah, right.
And I says, my wife and kids, hey, I've interviewed her.
Yeah.
Of course they didn't care.
They didn't give a shit.
But it was meaningful to me.
I think it's cool.
Look, some of my favourite moments, we interviewed Blanche Del Pouget, who's the husband. Because I've written it here.
Oh, my God.
Who is the wife of former Prime Minister Bob Hawke, but who I called the husband.
Oh, dear.
So that was a fun moment that I'll never forget. Most people will know you from being Bob Hawke's husband.
Well, I was his wife, actually.
She was good value.
So many great moments, great interviews from the whole experience. So, yeah, I hope we do keep doing that. Do you have any moments that you want to
Yeah, I have to say one of my highlights is going all the way back to the first festival and interviewing Jane Hutchin, who was famously the host of the 1+1 interview program here on TV for many years. She said we were good interviewers. And I took that to heart. And I know she was just being complimentary and lovely, but it gave me personally a boost of confidence when I needed it at the beginning there. I also enjoyed interviewing Ashley Kalajian-Blunt at that first festival. She's a podcaster as well.
And I see her book everywhere
I see her everywhere. She's great with her promotion and her first book was really good.
Yeah.
And I haven't read Cold Truth yet, but I'm sure that's great as well.
Her first book being Dark Mode.
Yeah, Dark Mode. Really great book. Honestly, I can't really narrow it down. Everybody's been so great. And I also feel like every interview is so different. The vibes are so different. One of my favourites was the AI discussion that we had with Toby Maguire and Carla Wilshire. And at the time, all the AI stuff's just coming out. But that was a fascinating discussion.
Yeah.
But, I hadn't read their books or anything like that. It was just a really fascinating discussion. And same with Bruce Wolpe this year as well. But yeah, talking to the Kidlit crew and I don't know, it's just always such a great time and you just fill your bucket with just all this stuff and it's just really inspiring basically. People just writing about their passion and putting it out there. So I feel very fortunate to be in their company, to be honest.
It was a great move to just throw us in.
Yeah,
and,
apparently.
Put a hand up for that one. Yeah. Okay, so let's get back into our regular episodes, our so-called regular episodes, because they're no longer regular.
No, completely irregular.
Maybe this next one is, and it's episode 8, A Whaley Good Time. Potentially one of the last. I think we released the How to Win a Not Quite Right prize maybe around the same time, but from this point on, it changes from monthly / maybe even twice a month if you're lucky, to 4 times a year, kind of, if you're lucky, maybe 5. Which explains why we're on episode 23, 3 years later. All right, so episode 8, A Whaley Good Time, dropped on the 26th of April, 2023. We spoke about rules of writing, and that was by way of introduction to the anti-prompt, which was coming up in our competition. So we were in promotion mode, I guess, trying to spread the word about the comp. Going back and listening to that, we actually gave some examples of potential anti-prompts.
Oh.
And we said avoid adverbs. That was actually the first example we gave.
Right.
And I think we did that before we agreed that would be the anti-prompt for that round. So if you actually did listen to that episode and then participate in the comp, then you would have gotten some extra info. So then we talked about the whale, which was actually a listener recommendation, right?
So this is a friend of mine from high school. And yeah, she recommended that I see it. So I thought I'd drag you along.
Yeah, so we both watched it. It still has one of the most memorable openings of any movie I've seen. If you haven't seen it, don't see it with your kids, I'll say that much.
And I'm just thinking too, I was watching very recently with my daughters the movie Inside Out, which is a Disney Pixar film all about feelings basically. And a bit of a subplot there is that the character who is a feeling, sadness, we come to find that she actually has a role to play. So initially, Joy is the main character and Joy's just trying to make everything okay and Joy's just trying to make sure, the whole ship's running and everybody's happy and trying to shut down sadness. But really there's that element where sometimes we need to feel that and that's where empathy can come in as well and where these feelings of dealing with stuff instead of just brushing it aside. And I can see that that's what happens here too.
Inside Out, from memory, did not start with a gay masturbation scene.
Oh, God. The closest I can think of is Wall-E. You know the scene where they're all on that spaceship?
Yes. Well, it was a little different, but yeah, there are parallels there. Yeah.
It's an intense movie all around, to be honest. I thought it was a good movie, though.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Very gripping.
We discussed it at the time. Obviously, you can go back and listen to that episode, but it was it was a play. It was a play on screen, right? So very much single room kind of thing, but it was well acted and well written. It had a few weird moments, but overall kind of an interesting play with a really weird ending.
Yeah,
I don't
out
want
of
to spoil
nowhere.
it anyway, but anyway,
Yeah.
it was a weird ending. So the next episode was episode 9 called Detour de Fromage, 6th of July, 2023. Like it was our only to date musical rec. So you recommended the band Bare Naked Ladies and the album Detour de Force, which ruined my algorithm, my Spotify algorithm. I had a lot of fun in that episode. It was a little bit different. And we got
You
to
had
listen
fun
to a lot of
shitting
songs.
on my favourite band of all time.
We're gonna roll out, take over this town. We're gonna kill it till the sun comes up. We're gonna roll out, it's about to go down. If you think I'm kidding, you can kiss my dust. I can see you.
All right. I think from the moment it opens, I'm out. Like,
I get it. I did when I said I was reading some other commentary about the album. I read that someone talked about this as a Shania Twain moment.
yeah, absolutely, completely.
And it is. It's very cheesy, very cliche, but like, and good. Like, I love
so
Shania
cheesy.
Twain.
I think I was fair and balanced.
I think
said
you
some
also
nice
shat on
things.
it. Do you know, because mostly I write the episode descriptions as well. That's got my favourite dumb joke, that episode description. People probably never read it, but I'm going to encourage you to go and read the episode description for that because I was really proud of it.
Okay, I thought you were going to read it or something.
No. Go and read it yourself.
Amanda works hard. Read those descriptions.
Yeah, like I spent, at least 5 to 10 minutes on that. And meanwhile, you're spending how many hours?
All right. So what else did we talk about on that episode? We talked about songwriting, obviously linked into the topic, and like the post-credit scene where we kind of narrate the King Charles coronation, which was happening at the time.
With an opening of the robes, King Charles is just flashing the congregation as we speak.
A little black bra with those tassels on the nipples, and black panties with suspenders.
Turn to the camera, a cheeky little shimmy. It's a very somber moment.
The choir boys have seen it all before.
Episode 10, a National Geographic for people with bad hair. That's September 22nd, 2023, which opens with you talking about how much you love Post Malone.
Because I was playing his songs on repeat, and I'm talking like on repeat, a few songs for a good year, I was like in his top whatever, 1% on Spotify, and I got a special video thanking me.
Oh my God, what?
No, not just me. Like if you hit the top fans of a certain musicians, they make a little video for their top fans, and I'm like, I'm one of Post Malone's top fans. Like, I got hyper fixated on Post Malone. I still think he's wonderful.
And we talked about the Before trilogy. That was our rec. Well, my rec to you for this episode was Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, Before Midnight. And it has the, trivia fact, the distinction of being the first rec that I think you actually enjoyed a little bit, which was nice.
Let's not get carried away. My point is, if you are on your way to your wedding and you are still so freaking obsessed with this chick that you think you see her at a bakery, should you maybe reconsider getting married?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's normal to reflect on that stuff as you're getting married because it's like, okay, well, I'm making this big decision and I want to be really sure I'm making this decision. But
then you've got to think about what the events were from his side of the story. And from his side of the story, he met this woman. They had a great night. He
would have been willing to leave his life for her. He went there and she didn't show up and he thought it was over. He got married, you know, he thought he had no hope, but he's still obsessed over her. He wrote this book and then they met again. And now this situation is so much more tangled and I think his actions make sense.
And if she was lying about the grandma.
Yeah, which she was. I just don't believe her. Like, oh, my grandma died and I couldn't make it. Come on. Like,
Such a dog ate my homework
I
and I
would
couldn't
have kind of, I don't know, maybe I'm the bad guy, but in the third movie,
do you have a Celine? Like, what's the issue here? You're getting really pissed off about it. Like,
I'm just thinking like, he was there for a few days and he said he put flyers up and stuff like that with his phone number. She could have gone like a few days later and been like, maybe he's still around.
Yeah.
I don't know. She could have made an effort. And maybe she did die, but it also sounds like a convenient thing to have happened for her because she was of two minds and thinking, should I do this? Oh, should I not? Should I do? Oh, my grandmother's died. Well, I guess I can't. Like, I get that vibe from her.
You were getting really fired up about this.
Bitch. Okay, so episode 11, entitled More Moors of October 23rd, 2023. We talked about obviously...
So that would have been our anniversary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A year in. 11 episodes plus a couple of little bonuses along the way. Obviously the prize-related episodes. Yeah, we talk about Flawed Protagonist, Wuthering Heights, which was your rec. In the 1930s version, he basically, when she's dying, he takes her over to the window and to look out over the moors one last time and he dies in her arms.
She dies in his arms?
She died. They just turned it over on his head.
Wow, that's really going a different angle.
No, she dies in his arms as they're looking out over the moors and it's kind of awkward because he's there holding his dead body. And then
it's
Linton,
Weekend at Bernie's
and
style.
everyone comes in and he's just holding her and they're like...
So he puts some sunglasses on her and a Hawaiian shirt and he's like, everything's fine. Yeah, it's just one of those awkward situations.
What are you doing exactly? We're looking at the moors. Like, right. Don't you have somewhere to be? We actually did a segment at the end of that, which in the timestamps, I titled Why is Heathcliff So Attractive? In which we spent about 10 minutes contemplating why women love Heathcliff so much as a character.
It's very topical now because we've got the new Wuthering Heights coming out very soon, starring Australia's own Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi as well. And it's getting roasted online for just being like hypersexualized, I think, in the trailer. So I'm obviously so excited to go and see it.
No, definitely. It should be good. And we talked about on this episode, like the shortcomings of these other movie adaptations that we saw. One of them being very true, but also like quite dull. The 90s one being much more engaging, but also like didn't cover half the story. And
and I feel like that's what's going to happen here too.
Some weird casting choices with like a French woman.
Yeah. Well, I think there's some weird casting choices happening again. I feel like Margot Robbie's an interesting choice for Catherine as well because...
She's way older than you'd expect.
Yeah, older and isn't she brunette? She can't have blonde hair.
Isn't that what people call iPhone face as well?
What?
This is an online thing, but certain faces, certain people, you can't imagine them living historically. Like they have iPhone face.
Oh,
And Margot Robbie is, I think, a person who has iPhone face. Like, you can't imagine her living in the 1800s.
No, she's too beautiful. They were all haggard back then.
So, in this episode, we also announced the return of the Not Quite Right prize. So, we're fully immersed in the Not Quite Right prize now, giving it a go. And obviously, this time around, much more risk. We're now giving away thousands of dollars and all that kind of thing. So, but I think we felt confident that we'd be able to at least...
I think basically we decided, look, this is an amount of money we're prepared to lose. And if we lose it, we lose it and we just commit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is risky. And like, you know, we get some pretty enthusiastic hate comments online about charging a fee to enter the competition. Now, I know the people who do enter the competition understand what they're paying for and clearly must see value in it or they wouldn't do it. Right? But when you're not in that world, and we were paying to enter comps ourselves, And I remember thinking the first time I did that, like, what's this about? Because, like, I'm doing all the work. Like, I get the logic of it. You know, I'm writing the story. Why am I paying you? But when you run the comp, you understand, like, the amount of work that goes into it, the amount of work that you do in terms of the website and how it all functions. It's insane. And there's costs involved too. Like, websites aren't free to have. Like, it's incredibly expensive. PayPal takes a cut of every sale before you even get it. So, it's not like we're raking in money here. No. We're just trying to cover our costs and justify spending our time on it. But, like, we've always hoped it would grow and be able to be self-sustaining, and ultimately, like, if we could quit our jobs and just do all this stuff, our passion, that's the hope, that's the hope and the dream. So one day, maybe episode 200.
Hopefully before then. But shortly after we started the comp as a quarterly comp, we introduced Daredevils, like, as a little upgrade, a little add-on, and they've been very popular, very successful, and a few people have come back several times. One of whom is the infamous Holly Sadowski.
Hi, Ed and Amanda. This is Holly Marie Cynthia Francis, insert whatever middle name you want, Sadowski from Kansas, 3-time Daredevil and author of your favorite talking penis, Johnson. I just wanted to drop in and wish you a happy 100th episode, and also possibly threaten you with a future Daredevil at some point. Thanks for everything. Bye.
That's very presumptuous.
I was thinking the same thing.
Like, you don't know that Johnson's our favourite talking penis. Like, there might be others.
There's some stiff competition.
Oh, but seriously, Holly, we love you. You've definitely added a lot of fun and a lot of spice to the competition. That story will go down in the history books for sure.
Yeah, I think it took me at least half an hour to get through that reading.
One of these days we'll have to publish, like, the actual uncut reading of that story.
The uncut, so to speak, reading. Johnson & Johnson uncut. Stay tuned. So, more on this episode. We spoke about flawed protagonists. Amanda, you identified yourself as a flawed protagonist.
Correct. I am the main character.
You made a very off-flavour joke about having more flaws than the Twin Towers, which I don't know if I'd leave that in these days. I think it's always a bit too far. Looking back to that going, wait a minute.
Oh, yikes.
And we also talked about your novel, Go Big or Go Home, like one of many updates. But I think this might have been when we started to introduce that into our regular episodes, your little updates on your novel, because it was approaching, like, completion.
From which I have not progressed.
You got your draft.
I got me draft.
Episode 12, Dear Diary. November 25, 2023. One of my personal favourites. Love that. Love a bit of Britney. One of 2 episodes to be copyright strike on YouTube. The other one, of course, being the Bare Naked Lady one. We spoke about epistolary novels and, like, diary novels ahead of our discussion about Piranesi, which I enjoyed as a discussion.
It's a great novel.
And you hit me with a surprise, and that was your own diary.
Yeah.
From when you were 13.
Thinking? Oh my God.
That was so much fun. And we recorded.
And then you cracked out a love letter.
Yeah, in the post credits, a little love letter that I'd received was about the same age. I sat there and read your diary for about 2 hours and then cut it down into, like, about 15 minutes or so. We had our school photos taken today. I was having a nice little chat with Fred while we waited for them to take the photo. Fuck Nathan. It's about Fred now.
It was definitely never about Fred. Sorry,
Fiona
Fred.
was drooling all over Nathan, who was standing in front of her. I don't like Nathan that much anymore. Fiona
God,
does,
who
though.
is it now?
Fiona does, though. I keep changing my mind. Self-aware. I like Sam instead. Out of 10, Fiona said she liked Nathan about a 5.
He deserved more than a 5.
I hadn't actually noticed before now, but James is actually pretty funny. Oh, like, who was your last one?
Nathan.
Are
we still on Nathan?
One after Nathan.
There might have been.
Today I told Mum that I like Sam.
Oh, it's Sam now. Sorry, beg your pardon. We're on to Sam.
Okay, so I just want to point out that this is about 6 weeks of elapsed time and we've gone through about 5 boys.
Like you said, I was very self-aware.
We had the Dragon Lady again today. She was worse than she had ever been. It's not my fault that I was born with no artistic talent. It's so self-aware. Yeah.
I don't know why I let you read that. Seriously.
it was
I
fun.
have regrets.
Why?
It's embarrassing. It's meant to stay secret, you know? Like I breached the diary rule.
Well, I mean, the embarrassment didn't stop because in the next episode 13, High Doses of Obsession, we read your very...
It was just confession time. What am I doing?
It was.
Yeah.
You went through this little phase of just letting it all out. And High Doses of Obsession, which was based upon your very first completed book, which is a little book that you wrote when you
little
were
novella.
about that age, right? 13?
Oh, it was
14?
probably more like 15, yeah. This was back before like the internet got good, and so I'd just go on the computer and write stories. That's how I entertain myself. That's kind of still how I entertain myself,
true.
but anyway. And fun fact, Carla, whose job I took, was also writing Hanson fiction at the time, and we were swapping Hanson fiction. Great writer.
What a story it was. I think that's still available on the website if you click on the notes to that
where
episode.
the secret link is.
I think you click on the link on that episode and you can go read it for yourself. I'm pretty sure. But like, there was some great moments in that. There was the moment when Amanda was at the pool with Hanson and everyone fell madly in love with her. So you go for a swim, and who should you meet in the swimming pool?
Who could it be?
But the entire Hanson family. Instead of like letting Rachel know, hey, come down to the pool.
We didn't have phones, I'd like to point out. It's not like I was texting it, like
no, but
holding.
you were in the hotel pool.
I was probably
and she
wet.
Was in the
What am I
hotel.
going to do? Go get her.
So you're all having fun in the pool, and you know who they are, but like, you know, you're not going to let that get to you. You're just going to play it cool. And so you engage in some sort of water game. I can't remember what the game was. Water polo or something like that.
Marco Polo or something?
Something like that.
Okay.
And of course you're competitive, and you are on, I think you're on Isaac's team, and you win.
Naturally. This is like, I'm writing it. I get to win.
And in the course of 2 hours, Isaac Hanson falls in love with you.
Why did you say it like that? Like as if it
You
was
said it like that.
literally quote for quote, like in the course of 2 hours.
Well, I think you describe it something like he's never seen such an amazing, beautiful and talented girl in his whole life. And
piss off. I did not say that. I might have.
It's actually not far off.
Is it between the lines or is it?
I don't think it's that far between the lines. I think it's on the lines.
I told you I'm the main character.
To the point,
I'm deeply flawed.
It was the point where Isaac's love for you fixes his eye. What I love about this one is like you've called this anti-fan fiction.
Yeah.
Because you're not really a Hanson fan, and that's just your friend who's the Hanson fan. But like the story's all about you and how all of
That's the
Hanson
comedy.
people love you.
It's irony.
Okay.
You know?
So on this episode as well, we mentioned that this was our 1 year anniversary, and I think when we were recording that, it came out on Christmas Eve 2023, but we probably recorded that in October, knowing how things work.
Probably.
And so we called out that was our first year, a big year, like a huge year, all the stuff that we got done.
Kind of mad.
And we mentioned that this was going to be actually our 23rd episode. So 23rd episode in a year. And now we're on actual episode 23, 2 years later.
Freaky.
And it's our 100th episode. So I don't know. Mathemachickens, work that one out. All right. Episode 14, Midlife Crisis, the musical. It dropped on the 1st of January 2024. So
Happy New Year.
it was Happy New Year. I gave you a little present for Christmas, and that present was Ian Thorpe's Beneath the Suit. As we all know that while you're too good for Hanson, you're not too good for Ian Thorpe.
Nobody's too good for you.
Have we done a follow-up on that? Where we talked about your response to watching
I
it?
don't know. Have we?
You mentioned to me, like, when your family was out, you got the DVD, you put it in the DVD player.
Say that. Like, settle down, mate. No, I have to say the DVD was not great.
Yeah.
It was pretty rubbish. They just interviewed him and then just spliced it with all this footage. And it was a bit of a clip show, let's put it that way.
Yeah. I think the best move was calling it Beneath the Suit because, like,
And like, I don't know how old he was at that time. Did we
That's-
establish
that's
his
another
age?
point, eh?
To be fair, we're the same age
Yeah,
as each other-ish, so it's okay. But I did feel weird.
That's why you had to wait till your family left before you put it on.
I could still turn him. You never know.
There's still time.
There's still time.
And of course, the other thing we talked about in Midlife Crisis, the musical, was The Dead by James Joyce, which is a little short story, or maybe a long short story that comes at the end of his short story collection, The Dubliners, which was, I think, a great little read and a great movie, which we watched in another one of my recs, very rare that you actually enjoyed.
Well, it's because it was good. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I feel like we're having a disconnect here. But if you recommend something good, I'll like it. It's pretty straightforward. So try and do that. If I could sum up what I think the message is, it's that these people do linger on, that they have an influence, and that we're all sort of part of what's come before.
Yeah.
And maybe we're pushing towards something new, but ultimately we're still, I don't know, shaped by the people who've come before that we care about. Sometimes not even the ones we care about. Like we're shaped by James Joyce now. The way we write is shaped by that, amongst many other authors who've come before. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
It's like thinking about how those people linger on, like maybe in the fever dreams of like Michael Fury coming back from the dead to just have a lustful affair with, or maybe it's like the littler things and how these people influence you long after they're gone.
Yeah. And I think, like, again, that's such a 6 a.m. after a long party revelation when you're sitting in the hotel room.
Super deep.
And you just take a drag of your cigarette and you're like, yeah.
Aren't we all a bit dead inside?
Looking at the snow outside and then going, yeah, like I feel like death.
The snow is general all over Ireland. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You act like I'm the one shitting over all the wrecks. You shat on all my wrecks.
I just don't think I have.
You didn't shit on Harvey because it's a classic. You shat on Bare Naked Ladies pretty hard. You broke me a little. I haven't listened to them much since. You shat on my Hanson fanfic. Anti-fanfic.
No, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the hell out of it. It was great. No. Episode 15, Literary Nonsense, which is a great title. And the nonce in the title obviously relates to like the pedo accusations that surround this author.
And I didn't know the word nonce until like maybe a few years ago now, but not that long ago.
I don't think it's a common one here.
No, it's not. And I mean, people are probably more aware of it now because we have the internet. But I always just thought it meant kind of like dunce, like an idiot.
Yeah, I think it kind of
like
did
silly
in Australia. It was like, oh, you're nonce.
Yeah,
like
you're just
wouldn't-
silly.
Yeah.
But my eyes have been opened.
Yeah, so we had a little bit of a discussion around that. And we got, I think, didn't someone from the Lewis Carroll Appreciation Society hit you up online about it as well? So we got called out a little bit for our own nonsense on that episode.
Yeah, they weren't too happy about that.
I feel like it's worth at least bringing up in the context of the
highly
discussion.
relevant.
And we spent the rest of the episode talking about his works, but it would have been a bit odd just to leave that little detail out, I feel. In the post credits, that's where we read my poem that I wrote back in our work days. And I think I'll play that now because it's quite amusing.
I take it all back about Lewis Carroll. This is my favourite poem of all time. It's called I Wrote a Poem.
No, that's the subject line.
It's the subject of the email. I love you wilder than the wildest flowers grow. I love you wedgier than the wedgiest camel toe. I love you lovelier than the loveliest flute ever played. I love you juicier than the juiciest fart ever made. Oh my God, help. I love you busier than the busiest bee working. You know what's coming.
Yeah, it's a punchline.
I love you softer than the softest merkin. I love you warmer than the warmest winds blow. I love you skankier than the skankiest hoe. I love you brighter than the brightest torch. Oh my God. Oh, it's coming because I remember. Oh my God. I love you brighter than the brightest torch ever lit, I love you smellier than the smelliest shit. Oh my God. Literary genius. Just to be clear, because we heard from Dave earlier in the episode, that was written by you for him.
Yeah.
Very romantic.
Very. All right. Episode 16, Porn Things, which was July 3rd, 2024. Much longer than a year ago. Right? But it feels like yesterday, that one. This feels like a new episode to me, like one that we'd only just released.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on there.
Time warp.
We talk about second screenwriting, movie adaptations, and of course, Poor Things. And once we'd finished recording the Poor Things discussion, I decided to have a few drinks just while I was listening to your rec. And your rec ended up being Chuck Tingle.
Oh,
Remember that? And we spent about an hour just laughing at the titles and having fun.
Mm-hmm.
This one is amazingly meta.
Oh, God, here we go.
Reamed by my reaction to the title of this book. This might be. I'm worried that if I read one, like, I'm just not going to stop.
It's going to blow your mind. So, okay.
What? Slammed in the butthole by my concept of linear time.
Okay, I want you to click on Get Well Soon. So go to the menu.
Okay.
Yes.
What am I doing?
You are me a week ago, okay? Because I was losing my mind over this. I was so in love with the idea of erotic fiction about concepts that I just can't get over it. Did you find the sub-menu? In the menu? I'm not on your wall, mate. You look around you. Your mind has been so blown. You're waiting for like the physical manifestation.
Getting slammed in the butt by the concept of the menu here. All right, hang on. But yes, episode 17 was the next episode into the Tingleverse, which was released on September 18th, 2024. And that was our discussion of Chuck Tingle. We talked about no one buying books anymore. We talked about erotic fiction, our own history with erotic fiction. Okay, so my first experience with erotic fiction was at the age of 13.
Okay.
So me and a friend of mine were killing some time and we went into the local bookstore, like secondhand bookstore. It was quite a good one. And we were roaming around and we stumbled upon the adult section.
Ooh.
And we were like, what the fuck? They just have books that talk about sex in this shop. And so we read them and we were like, holy shit. And they were only like $1. This is the 90s. This is 1993 specifically. So what we did is we're 13. We can't just go up to the counter with like these erotic stories. So we got some other random books and just were like, oh, here's all the books that we want. And we ended up buying like 10 books with a
Is
few
this
of them
like
thrown
that
in.
thing where people go to buy condoms and they just try and like
It's
hide
exactly
it amongst
like that. We're like, oh, and I'll have a couple of your finest erotic fiction as well as an afterthought. But of course the
My
guy
good
behind
sir.
the counter at the secondhand bookshop was like, whatever. Like, I'm not judging anyone. So we bought them.
He's just like, give me your $4. I don't care.
Exactly. So that was my first experience. And like, okay, so this is reading erotic fiction at a time in my life when I'd never experienced anything sexual and I'd never seen anything.
Because like, yeah, there was
So
no YouTube.
You couldn't just go and like online and be like, wonder what that looks like. So it was a case of using your imagination based on the words to conjure up what this might look like.
When you had no
exactly.
context or like, okay.
Yeah, so that was
amazing.
That was a different experience. And I remember that was quite a it's quite a moving experience. No, it was no, it was a seminal event in my life.
That's way worse.
And like this is the first time that we dipped our toe, our collective proverbial toe, in the realm of this is all you at this point. You're the one making the connections, not me. And yeah, the Chuck Tingle episode, it was a lot of fun to talk about. We talked about some of his actual books. We each read a couple of his books, right? And
Very short books, yeah.
Yeah,
Like
short stories. But we broke them down a little bit and talked about them. And there was a nice little butt supercut at the end of that. So go back and listen to that if you want a bit of a laugh.
I pissed myself when I heard that.
Episode 18, Can't Touch That. I read the dictionary. We talk about NaNoWriMo again.
Dictionary, sexily, you might add.
We did a self-Daredevil. That was when we read our own stories and kind of critiqued each other's stories. I read my story, Who Shat Their Pants, and you read
Showcased in Furious Fiction.
and you read Poster Boy, which was
panned in Writing Battle.
unfairly so. I felt it was quite a good story.
Yeah. People just inserting their own meanings into that story. But now, like, I can't think about MC Hammer without thinking about the poster.
Yes, same.
Can't touch this. Can't touch this.
Becky had been told in no uncertain terms that she couldn't touch this, yet her fingers pulsed with need. The bang of the screen door signalled that her brother, Robbie, had finally located his Reebok pumps and left for basketball practice. In a house free of witnesses, she would now do as she pleased. Becky raced to her room and cranked the volume on her boombox. As the beat rolled, she slid the magazine out from under her mattress and flicked to the centerfold. There he lay, in gold lame, her paper poet. Becky coaxed each staple open with a freshly polished nail to release him. He was cocksure, his hands at his hips artfully framing the generously proportioned crotch of his pants. But the centre crease had sliced him in two. She traced her fingertip along his shallow indentation. His lips were parted, suggesting a sigh as she dipped inside that forbidden place. Hungry for more, she slapped a sweaty palm either side of her lover's head and pressed him up against the wall. Now, why would I ever stop doing this? She said. Her eyes fluttered closed as she slid her heaving chest against his high-gloss surface, urging the bare mahogany sheen to press back. Stop! No matter how much the music might beg her to, Becky would not stop. She licked her tongue along her braces and steeled herself for the kiss. It was hammer time.
My music hits me so hard, makes me say, oh my Lord, thank you.
We talked about May, December, story of inappropriate love. And that episode has a distinction of having no post-credit sequence, which is
probably
very
nothing
rare.
publishable.
Episode 19, The Next Big Thing, in which we finally get to critique Amanda's novel, Go Big or Go Home. How's your writing going?
Shut the fuck up, mate.
How's your second draft?
Second draft is non-existent, and you know exactly why. Time suck. And also, I've lost my mojo, sadly. Like, maybe it's all this flesh fiction stuff and whatever. I'm like, I'm not actually 100% sure I should be writing for children.
That's the other part of it, isn't it?
A little bit.
We read some listener mail. We talk about Taylor Swift. The disappearance of literary men should worry everyone. The gender war episode on that one.
I'm fine. I'm not that worried.
You weren't that worried about it when we spoke about
really.
it.
I wasn't alarmed.
You haven't changed your tune.
I remained alert rather than alarmed. Yeah.
And not even that alert.
Not really.
So, Amanda, I came across this article in the New York Times. It's called The Disappearance of Literary Men Should Worry Everyone. And it was published on December 7th, 2024. And it was written by a man named David J. Morris.
Men are usually the first to complain about being cancelled and such.
I haven't even introduced this topic and you're already on your high horse. So that's a taste of things to come. But yeah, it was great to finally read your novel that you've been working on for so long. And I do hope you do one day
My children
come around
hope I
and
do
finish
it as well. I have to say, so you gave me some feedback on it, very helpful feedback. And I had already planned before we had that discussion, I was going to get it professionally, like a manuscript development kind of situation, pay someone to have a look at it. And I did that and it was helpful. But guess what? You gave me all the same feedback for free. Yeah. I should have just stuck with that. And look, I know what the issues are. I guess I don't have an answer for those problems apart from just doing the hard yards.
That's what it is.
And look, I have lost my mojo. Like after a while, you get sick of it. You do get sick of it. And this has been my habit. I write these first drafts and then I haven't yet sort of come around to fixing them.
Well, you never know. One day you might come around and just be like, I'm going to finish it.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe when I'm 50.
Which is not too long.
I'll settle down, mate.
It's facts. Deal with it. Our next episode was episode 20. Hell hath no furry like a woman's porn. Which is probably my favourite title, which I'll give you credit because that's one that you came up with.
I was pretty proud. When I came up with it, I'm like, well, that's it. That's the one.
And that one appropriately debuted on April the 1st, 2025. It's our third April the 1st in a row. Mm-hmm. And of course, we talked about Garth Marenghi's Dark Place, and once again, you shat all over it.
Look, I do take it back. I was wrong. You were right. It's very stupid. And look, at times it does go too far. That iChild thing was not okay.
You did not consent to the iChild.
Now, look, this is something we haven't touched on, so to speak, but there is a scene where an eyeball, you know what I'm saying. I don't even feel like I'm equipped to say it out loud. The eyeball is violating. It's violating a patient or whatever it is. And it's like, what? You know, you're going along, and that's what this shows. You think it's one thing and you're going along, and then that happens.
You thought that was too much?
Well, again, it's like, is this a parody or are you just getting away with it?
I mean, the eyeball scene with the other patient, I'm not here to defend it. I don't think that was a highlight of the show.
No.
I did enjoy this. I mean, look, come on. The absurdist humour. Okay, so immediately he has the eyeball baby. And I don't know if you saw that shot where you could see it was coming out of his asshole and it was completely unnecessary and like, what?
This is what
and then, okay, the eyeball comes out and then this whole plot line of Douglas being like, but, you know, I need him to replace my previous son who was a grasshopper for some reason and died tragically and blah, blah, blah. And he loves it and he hides it and he's like, I want it to. And the minute he, like, do you remember how the eyeball dies? He bites his finger and then he's just like slamming it violently, like bashing it until it dies. And everyone is just like, did you love it? And then he's just brooding about it like he didn't just fucking murder it. Come on, it's great.
I have to say I am enjoying it much more with your perspective than I ever did watching it.
And the first episode where the dude just fucking explodes and then he's just the head on the floor and he tells him to kill him and he picks up the shovel. It's a hospital, but there's a dirty shovel. And his method of killing him as a doctor is just to fucking golf club him with his head down the hallway. Like, come on.
But like, it is delightfully stupid. It is extremely quotable. And yeah, I was wrong.
Even in that episode, you do come around. Like, in fact, I called it out in the timestamps. Like, Amanda goes to her own dark place for a moment and then comes back towards the light.
Dark night of the soul.
Yeah. And once we started going through the quotes and listening to the quotes, you kind of came around. And then you apologised the next episode. So we did speak about monster sex on this episode, that monster sex article, which was a lot of fun and some good responses as well from people online about what they enjoy about monster sex. And it was the introduction, appropriately enough, of the innuendo jar, which has now surpassed $60 worth of jokes, most of which do not make it into the edit because they stretch human.
Go on.
They stretch human decency. And like overall, probably one of my personal favourites as an episode because it had all of those great Garth Marenghi quotes and the garage being so hot.
Oh dear.
And having a longest post-credit scene, which was 10 minutes long. To the tune of Hot in Here.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. What would you do if I ate this like a sip?
I'd probably call the ambulance because I don't think you're supposed to eat that.
But then
She went crazy.
But then you'd be so tempted to do it yourself. You'd just be like, you know what? You never know. It's probably good.
You die happy. That's actually pretty good in my head.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
But we were actually dying. Let's not be.
We were probably like, we should have been going to hospital.
Yeah.
Seriously. Our brains were not functioning properly.
Episode 21, Blank the Cat, from April 17 of 2025, in which we introduced Dean as our new assistant judge for the prize, which was for the April round, which was just about to kick off. Mm-hmm. Speaking of Dean, he's also left us a voicemail.
Hey Ed, hey Amanda, it's Dino here, and I want to congratulate you on 100 not 100 years, 100 probably feels like 100 years, 100 episodes of Not Quite Right podcast. I've also feel very honoured to have maybe played a small part in inspiring it, but I've got to stop banging on about that through Furious Fiction. As a contestant in the competition, I've managed to make the shortlist a couple of times, and now as a guest judge, it's been a lot of fun reading stories and jumping in on some of those podcasts as well. So all the best for another 100, and keep doing what you do. Right on.
It's fun thinking back to like those early days before we started the podcast when we were writing and submitting to Furious Fiction, and there was Dean just in the background, like reading our stories, throwing them in the bin in my case, and in your case, sending you the nice, lovely trophy.
You know why? Because I made a stupid pun in my story. That's why. Straight to the pool room.
Also, mine were pretty bad.
There's that factor to consider. Look, I don't know that my winning story was particularly amazing, but do you know what's interesting? Because we've just had Justin, who came 6th in our most recent comp, and who talked about how he really put himself into it, and it was quite a personal story. That story that I wrote, frivolous as it was like me just unleashing the emotions I had at the time. I had a lot of frustration at work, and I just poured it out. And I think maybe there is something to be said for just like putting yourself on the page and like how that speaks to people sometimes, like how you connect that way. Definitely would recommend it as a writing strategy for sure. It's also really good for venting.
Yeah, for sure.
But thanks, Dean. We appreciate you and we appreciate your support. And
you helped with the judging as well.
You helped with the judging, but you did inspire this. If it hadn't been for you, like who knows what we'd be doing right now. So, we appreciate you.
Probably writing.
Yeah. And Dean's threatening to start his own podcast, so I look forward to that.
Yeah, we'll let you know when that happens.
We sure will.
All right. And we talked about Blank Check, Save the Cat, the Blake Snyder book and movie, which was a lot of fun. Really, it's a wish fulfillment movie for
100%.
For boys, basically.
Yeah.
And he goes through
for kids more generally in terms of that, like what would you do if you had $1 million kind of question.
Well, I say boys because there is a relationship that is a little bit problematic, which I'm not sure how old he is. He's like 10.
He's 11.
He's 11, okay. So he has a relationship with a lady. I mean, she's an adult.
She's in her 30s.
She's in her 30s, is she? I feel like that bit was more wish fulfillment for the writers than it was for him, because like as a former 10, 11-year-old boy, I wasn't interested in 30-year-old women at all.
Not at all.
And almost finally, our last episode, Adolescent Behaviour, 18th of July, 2025. We had a reading of James Joyce's Dirty Letters, which was a lot of fun, a lot of farty fun. You had an ass full of farts that night, darling. And I fucked them out of you. Big fat fellows, long windy ones, quick little merry cracks, and a lot of tiny little naughty farties ending in a long gush from your hole. It is wonderful to fuck a farting woman when every fuck drives one out of her. I think I would know Nora's fart anywhere. I think I could pick hers out in a room full of farting women. It is a rather girlish noise and not like the wet, windy fart. which I imagine fat wives have. It is sudden and dry and dirty, like what a bold girl would let off in fun in a school dormitory at night. I hope Nora will let off no end of her farts in my face so that I might know their smell also.
Oh my God.
So this certainly throws James Joyce in a little bit of a different light, I feel.
This is niche as fuck. Do you know what? Because you gave me that book for my birthday, and I just read all the dirty bits, and now I'm sick of it.
Oh.
You know, and there's some interesting stuff in there as well around publishing.
Okay.
And it's just like, because he's writing letters to his friends and stuff and bitching about the publishing industry. And I'm like, nothing's changed.
Yeah.
So that was quite fascinating as well. But yeah, not quite as fascinating as the spicy love letters.
Okay. So we spoke about Adolescence, the TV show, and so much of that conversation got cut up because I got so drunk.
You were really drunk.
I was
you were not
drunk.
coping.
No, I was not handling it. The vibe was a bit off, I felt, in that recording session, and I was drinking to compensate for it. And remember one time you got really cold and then...
I was so cold. Yes.
Yeah, and then you looked like you were going to fall asleep. And
Yeah,
I was like, this is not right. It's not quite
We've
right.
probably been talking for like 14 hours.
We
at that
actually
point.
did record 9 hours of audio.
Yeah, that might have something to do with me falling asleep.
There was a lot more to say. I felt like there was a lot more to say that didn't come through. But, you know, it is what it is. But the thing I feel most regretful about is that you wouldn't let me name that episode. Because we called that episode Adolescent Behaviour.
Yeah.
But it was the episode we talked about vajankles. And I wanted to call the episode Vajadolescence. But you're like, no.
Too far?
Too far. If the subject matter for adolescence wasn't so serious,
Yeah.
maybe that would have worked. But I just want to mention that because I thought it was
You want
great.
some credit.
Yeah. And we mentioned something called Fizzlegate as well in this episode. And here's Autumn Bettinger with a little bit of a reveal on that. Autumn Bettinger, of course, former winner of the Not Quite Right prize.
Hi, Not Quite Right. This is Autumn Bettinger, who won the July 2024 prize. And I just want to say congratulations on your 100th episode. This has quickly become my favorite competition. And a big part of that is this community. And also Amanda and Ed, you guys are hilarious. And I love your podcast so much and listening to you guys. And every interaction I've had with you has been wonderful. I also wanted to admit that Fizzlegate was in fact me. Yes, I was the person who freaked out about the fizzle. So I just felt like I should get that off my chest. But anyway, congratulations on your 100th episode, and I hope there will be 100 more.
You could never fizzle, Autumn.
Well, your winning story certainly didn't fizzle.
No, it didn't.
So that takes us to this episode, episode 23, our 100th episode celebration. So I just wanted to put where we are today in a little bit of context as well, because, you know, you mentioned when we were talking about our first episode, a lot of podcasts don't get to their second episode. So here are a few stats that I've compiled, and I'm not hitting you with these with any authority because podcasting stats are hard to get hold of and get hold of accurate stats. So these are a combination of some websites and some ChatGPT answering questions. So this might be completely hallucinated. But as of May 2025, there are 4.52 million podcasts worldwide. Now, that's not episodes. That's 4.52 million podcasts that have started, all different names, all different topics, which is a huge number of podcasts. And if you're a new podcast starting out, as we were 3 years ago, dropping a new episode, launching it, you don't get anything. You launch and it falls to the ground like a wet sock.
That's a lovely simile. Very well done.
And of those 4.52 million podcasts...
Why are your socks wet?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Not really, actually. Can I withdraw my question?
So out of those 4.52 million podcasts, 75% of them are considered dead, meaning they haven't released an episode in the last year, which, you know, in my mind, actually, I thought that number would be a lot higher.
Yeah.
Right. So that implies
it's a lot of work. It's hard.
Yeah, implies that 1 million podcasts are not dead.
Yeah.
So 1 million active podcasts is quite a large number that we're effectively competing with people's attention for, right? Mm-hmm. And some of those podcasts, like the big ones, get everyone's attention and most of them get no one's attention. So we're very grateful for
your
our
attention.
little group of listeners that we have here. Only 20% of new podcasts release more than one episode.
Yeah.
So if you're a podcaster, you've released 2 episodes, you're doing better than 80% of people.
That's sad.
Yeah, but it's hard.
It's
hard. And
it's hard.
there's also, I think there's a perception versus reality thing as well, because everyone's like, oh, I can do a podcast. I'll just record and start talking and it'll be great because I'm naturally like amusing and interesting. But it's a whole different story when you set up and you start talking into a microphone. And like, you don't hear it as listeners, but every time we start recording, it takes a while.
It takes some of us a while.
It takes some of us a while.
It does.
Okay. Roughly 50% of podcasts stop producing within the first year.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
And likely under 10% make it past 3 years.
And we're not there yet.
we're not quite yet there, but signs point to yes on that one.
Unless I die in a horrible plane crash, touch wood.
Well, I hope that doesn't happen.
Just cut together some burps and release them.
I'll just do the burp supercut as your like eulogy. It'll be our longest episode.
Set it to like the funeral march or something like that.
for like 3.5 hours. It's what you would have wanted.
It is. I'm saying right now it is. Definitely. I think part of the reason maybe we have survived is because we didn't go in with maybe some of the same illusions as others. And that's because we're already in the fucking writing world where like your hopes and dreams get crushed.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? So it's like you go in knowing your hopes and dreams are going to get crushed. And you're like, okay, I'm cool with that.
Plus, it's fun. Like, I enjoy hanging out with
fun.
you and chatting. And, like, there was a bit of freedom. I think in those early days when we were just, like, the first 5 episodes or so, before we did the prize or anything, very few people are listening. Like, how would they find us? And so it felt like, what's at stake? Nothing much. Like, we just do it.
Having fun.
See what happens. And, like, I'm not here to say that this is, like, we're number 1 on iTunes and we're the top, writing podcast. But getting to where we are today with 3 years and 100 episodes is a win. And it's a huge win. And
look, you say, we're not top of the charts, but we have made charts all over the world, which is kind of cool. And our top ranking ever was 7th on Apple Podcasts for the books category in Australia.
Yeah.
Which is like top 10, mate, of that million podcasts. I mean, they're not all books podcasts, but that's bloody huge.
It
and
is,
we're up there with, at the time, the New Yorker and the ABC, which is Australia's public broadcaster. We're in that company. It's amazing. We didn't stay there for long, but we got there. And, I hope to sort of get back there again.
yeah, and of course we couldn't have done it without everyone listening right now. All of anyone who thinks that we are funny or amusing or informative or whatever the case may be, or enjoys the Not Quite Right prize and has fun and like engages with the community, and you all help make this happen. So we're very grateful.
Absolutely. If you weren't listening, like maybe we would have given up a long time ago. Who knows? And like, podcasting's it's its own little world, and we've got some other podcaster friends out there as well. And one of those is Kai Garvey with Totally Lit Podcast. Kai's someone that I've met in the real world, which was very exciting. I was traveling for work and I had some contact with the Brisbane Writers crew online, and I thought, I'll just reach out and see if anyone wants to meet up. And she did. And we had a lovely chat. And I consider her a writing friend, and she's a wonderful person, does great interviews as well. But we got a lovely little message from her.
Hi, Amanda and Ed. This is Kai Garvey from the Totally Lit podcast. I just want to say congratulations on your 100th episode. I'm sorry that I am running late. In fact, I just released my own 100th episode and forgot to tell anyone. I love your work. Keep continuing to support the Australian writing community as you have. Congratulations.
Congratulations to you, Kai, on your 100th episode. Fucking cheers, mate.
That's right. I'm just pouring some wine in honour of your 100th episode as we speak.
Well, you've told people now. So, yeah, if you haven't listened to Totally Lit, get on over and have a listen. Kai does interviews with authors.
Yeah.
And they're great. And another podcasting friend is Julia Boggio. Now, Julia is in the coven with me, and we went on her podcast when she was running that. She's had a bit of a break from it to do the writing part. So she's stopped procrastinating and is actually getting shit done. Yeah. But yeah, that was good fun as well. So Julia sent us a message too.
Congratulations on reaching 100 episodes of Not Quite Right. From little acorns, great things have grown. So I'm already looking forward to your 200th episode. Love, Julia.
And speaking of making appearances on other people's shows, we also participated in a little chat with Chris Fielden, who is a friend of ours, helped promote our comp with his comp list, and he sent us a little message as well.
Hi, it's Chris Fielden here. I list the Not Quite Right prize on my website, and I had the privilege and pleasure of interviewing Amanda and Ed earlier in 2025, and they were so generous with the information they shared to my audience. It was wonderful to speak with them. You can see how pretty they both are on my YouTube channel if you fancy a look. Keep up the great work, guys. You are doing awesome things for Flash Fiction.
Thanks, Chris, for your kind words.
Yeah.
I would urge our listeners, if they do go to Chris's website, to keep your expectations low.
Yeah, and just don't wear your glasses. I was surprised to learn that Chris is like a touring musician. Like he's living the life. Rock star.
Absolutely. A pure artist. And here's a message from another member of your writing group, The Coven, and a Not Quite Right prize longlister, Jane Rice.
Happy 100th episode, Amanda and Ed. Onwards to 200.
And Farah from The Coven has left us a message as well.
Hi, Ed and Amanda. This is Farah from Amanda's Coven. Happy 100th episode. Woohoo! Just wanted to send a huge congratulations on reaching such an impressive milestone. You both are fantastic. From your recs to competitions to interviews, you're doing it all. And it's always a pleasure to listen to you. So well done.
So Joe is another friend from The Coven, and Joe and Julia are actually helping to judge Flash Fiction.
Yes.
Hi, Ed and Amanda. It's Jo Lyons here, romantic comedy author from England. I have thoroughly enjoyed every episode, and congratulations on getting to 100, and here's to 100 more.
And Joe earlier this year landed a 10-book publishing deal.
Wow.
She's an absolute machine, and her books are fucking hilarious. She writes...
I don't know when she's going to get to read these.
I know. And look, it's a struggle. But yeah, like she writes these romantic comedies, but they've got this kind of vibe to them. Like one's based around like a Bachelor kind of style TV show, and another one's based on essentially the habit of Brits going to Benidorm and just getting trashed. Like they're just hilarious books, and she just churns them out at an absolutely mind-boggling pace. But thank you. And do you know what? She's so lovely as well. And like the whole Coven is so lovely, but they just all gather around you and just like support everything that you do. It's so nice to have that, and, you know, thoroughly recommend that to anybody, basically.
And we've got a few little extra voicemails. This next one is from Amanda's mum.
Amanda's mum here. Congratulations, Amanda and Ed, on 100 episodes. I see all the work that goes on behind the scenes, and I think you guys do an amazing job. And I enjoy listening to it, even with all the swearing.
So thanks, Amanda's mum.
Yeah, thanks, Mum. And you know what? Thanks for gifting me with my love of writing in the first place. Although it's a love-hate. Definitely my toughest critic after myself. Second toughest critic, always ready with the red pen if I make a spelling error. She's still given those backhand compliments of like, no, I actually liked it. And she's still confused by it. But that was very sincere. I appreciate it, Mum.
That was nice.
Love your support.
And here's a message from your husband. I believe that you held him at gunpoint and made him record something.
A little.
Hey, it's Andy, Amanda's hubby. Huge congrats on the century, Amanda and Ed. I'm super proud of how far you've come and how quickly you've gotten here. You're obviously putting out quality, fun, informative content with the podcast, but the comp, this is next level. It's clear you're projecting your passion out there, inspiring thousands of people to write, challenge themselves, to think differently and have fun doing it along the way. It's been fun cheering you on from the sidelines since day one. Bring on the next 100. Love your work. Cheers.
Aw, thanks, Schmoopy.
And like Amanda does a lot of work for the podcast as well. So thank you for allowing that to happen.
No, he's a wonderful supporter, and I come over here and I'm here until like friggin' 4 a.m. in the morning, and he never complains. He's a wonderful, wonderful support, and he sounded very sweet there. That's because he is.
And speaking of, here's a short message from my wife, Sharon.
Hi, this is Sharon. A big congratulations to you both on reaching this milestone of 100 episodes of Not Quite Right. I've seen firsthand how much passion, hard work, and wine goes into producing each podcast episode and running the competitions, and you should both be very proud of what you have achieved. I also know you have some exciting things planned for 2026 and onwards, so everybody sharpen your pencils and stay tuned.
Thank you. And thank you as well for allowing me to put so much time and effort into this little project. It's a lot of work, and I know that means that I'm not mowing the lawn, which hasn't been mowed in at least 2 months.
It's winter. It's fine.
Yeah.
But no, I really appreciate you, Sharon, and I'm so grateful that you must just see me coming and just be like, oh, here she is again. But, she cooks for us and everything, and I really appreciate it. Like, this is our passion, and I know it comes at a cost at times, and I just appreciate her willingness to allow it to happen, basically.
Yeah. I was watching YouTube, as I very often do, and one of the channels that I enjoy watching is Bald and Bankrupt. Is a travel channel. He basically travels around the world, and his thing, which is a bit more of a thing now, but when he started was kind of new, like a lot of travel channels would go to Paris and Spain and all these places that people want to go, but he would go to these places that people didn't go, and he'd go to like India and the former Soviet towns and things and do interesting commentary. Anyway, just before we were preparing for this episode, I saw one of his more recent videos, and he was celebrating his anniversary on the channel. And so he started this YouTube channel when he was 45 called Bald and Bankrupt. He bought a ticket to India and with no money, and basically started a YouTube channel there and grew into where he is now, where he's got like 5 million subscribers. And he was just talking about starting the channel and his experience, and it hit me, and I'll play that little clip for you now.
Well, we should discuss the last 7 years of my YouTube career. When you start YouTube, you never think it's going to last 7 years. You think maybe, 6 months, then I'll quit and go back to my normal job. And so I had no idea or expectation that this would be my living now, and that my life has just been completely changed on YouTube, right? Thanks to the people who watch. That's what I want to say. You never know all the things that you learn up to when you change your life. You never know how useful they're going to be. I never knew when I was learning Russian back in the day that one day I would use it on YouTube. I never knew when I was in India learning Hindi that I would one day use my Hindi to make my videos on YouTube better. All these things that you pick up in your life as you progress suddenly have meaning at some point. They come together and you're like, oh, that's why I was fascinated by Russia. It all led to this point. It's strange how life works. Anyway, thanks for watching all the videos.
And I feel very much listening to that how I feel about this podcast. Like the way that it's come together, there's been a lot of randomness and luck and stuff, but it's also been, a culmination of several things like lifelong love of reading and writing. And for me, it's also I've got a musical background, and I've had the recording equipment and experience with recording and editing, and some experience with computers. And you've got obviously a background in training, and also the writing stuff comes through. So I just found that very poignant, I guess, as, we've spoken in the past, I think, about writing, and you've said well, maybe it's not writing, maybe it's podcasting about writing, which is where you ended up for a reason, and that's what you're good at, kind of thing.
Yeah, I agree. I do feel that way. Like the novel writing, which I was loving, I have lost a little bit of mojo with that. And look, my life is chaos, and that's a big part of it. It's hard to have creative energy for these things. And of course, the time suck thing did prove true, and that's a huge part of it as well, that all of my fun time is spent now doing this. But I'm happy about it, and I'm cool with it. And I even had banned myself from entering comps this year, which even flash fiction I can't manage at the moment, although I have snuck a couple of Furious Fiction entries in just as little gifts for Dean. But I'm okay with that at the moment because I'm enjoying reading everyone's stories and I'm enjoying doing the critiques that we do and sharing our love and passion for this and inspiring other people, like people who are way better writers than I am, to write more and to write these great stories. And that feels like really meaningful somehow to help give people reasons to be creative and to stretch themselves.
Yeah.
And like I've said it before, I said it in the Blake Snyder episode, I think I'm one of those people who's better teacher than doer. And I do feel that way. I've now amassed a huge amount of knowledge about writing through doing it, through reading about it, learning about it, doing courses, all sorts of things over like 15 years plus of really in-depth thinking about it and educating myself. And now I want to share that.
Yeah. And I think that's the other lesson as well is like if you're thinking about doing something, whatever it is, if you want to write a novel, if you want to start a podcast, if you want to do whatever, just do it. And like you'll
Just
learn
'cause you
along the
want
way.
to.
You'll figure it out.
You don't have to make an income. You don't have to justify it. You just do it because it calls you.
Yeah. And maybe it doesn't work out. Maybe it's not the right time. Maybe it'll work out later. Maybe it'll work out in a different way that's
maybe it's just
unexpected.
foreshadowing some later plot development.
Yeah. So look, once again, very grateful that we are doing this and we have big plans for the future and our plans and hopes and dreams are limited only by the amount of time that we can spend making them a reality. But we do hope that we will be able to make them a reality. Next year, we've got a brand new comp structure, essentially. We no longer have the anti-prompt. It's the last round of the anti-prompt in October. We'll be saying goodbye and next year we'll be unveiling something new. So we'll be hinting at what that is, no doubt, in the coming months and developing that into a real thing for next year. And yeah, we'll be doing other things. We have been talking about and thinking about a Patreon for a while and it's a little value add for people who are interested. So we want to also launch that next year. Like, again, we are limited by the amount of time that we can spend on this stuff, but it's something we want to get going and plenty more to come next year. So I'm super excited and still very excited to keep doing this.
Go big or go home, as they say.
As you say.
Lots of people say it. I didn't coin that one.
Everyone's talking about Amanda's book, Go Big or Go Home.
That's one thing that won't be happening in 2026, that's for sure.
You might surprise yourself.
Oh, dear.
You're the kind of person who just gets an idea in your head and will make it happen.
Got a lot of other ideas in my head right now. You just listed off a few of them just then.
Yeah. But that about wraps it up then for this 100th episode celebration. And thank you once again for listening to our little podcast and helping it grow. And
thanks for indulging us on this little journey today as well. And
go back and listen to the older episodes. I certainly can't. I get like anxious listening to my voice and
I love listening to back episodes. I'm our biggest fan.
Also, you're the one who's driving the numbers up. And we'll be back very soon. We have our October round coming up. We might see if we can sneak in another regular episode at some point. We'll see what we
bit of Poe.
manage. We didn't forget about Poe.
No, we can never forget about Poe.
We've sidelined Poe, so all the Poverts are going to have to just hold tight for a little while.
More time to read Poe. It's fine.
Yeah, put your dicks away.
What? I don't have one.
I'm talking to the Poverts.
Oh.
You know how they be.
I'm a Povert.
Okay, well, put your dick away. And get it out on our next regular episode when we'll be speaking about it.
Oh, I will.
Okay, on that note.
Quoth the raven, eat my dick.
And on that delightful note, it's time to wrap up our little celebration here. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next time on Not Quite Right. But until then, ride on.
Right on.
Thank you for listening to Not Quite Right. If you'd like to reach us via email or follow us on social media, you can find all the links on our website, notquiterightpodcast.com. That's WRITE. And if you enjoyed the show, we'd love it if you could leave us a 5-star review on your favourite podcasting app.
Something doesn't seem quite right.
Okay, Barney.
Just stop having a day. Just be grateful it's coming out that end. You know what I'm saying? I could be burning the candle at both ends at this point.
Especially after that curry.
Burping the candle at both ends.
you in the zone yet?
Why?
Just checking.
Did it not feel like I was?
I'm just checking. You don't have to be like, you know?
You're like, I'm just checking. Are you still a bitch? That's what that came off as just then. Carry on. Come on.
All right. Okay.